after all the stuff with Annie Crawford,
Sure.
because she argues that's finally like Lewis in his element.
No, that's to me,
Oh, and a
that's,
discarded image. Yeah,
yeah, that's the
yeah,
definitive Lewis flexing. It's like Luther in the Trinitarian theses, where he's
mm,
like, hey, by the way, just so you know, I can do this.
yeah,
I
yeah,
just don't want to.
yeah. But she argues that he wasn't. Um, he was on a path, right, of a sort, and that
Well,
doesn't.
this is basically the last major thing he wrote before he died.
Well, I think it was published posthumously,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's
Mhm.
do the promo audio
Yeah.
here, and then
We're listening to a
we'll go from
1517
there.
Hello, Dan.
podcast.
Hello, Dan.
Podcasts are great. You know what is even better than a podcast? Being with your favorite podcasters in person. 1517 does a lot of work of putting out podcasts, but we also do events. I'm going to tell you about a couple of events that are coming up very soon that you could register for and attend. Trinity Lutheran in Delray Beach, Florida is hosting a 2-day multi-speaker event on February 20th and 21st. The theme is Out of Darkness and Into Christ. The speakers are Chad Bird, Scott Keith, Eric Sorensen, Erica Sorensen, and others.
And others.
That's February 20th and 21st. If you are in Florida or want to go to Florida in February, which who doesn't want to do that? Dallas, Texas. Join us March 13th and 14th for the Faith and Reason Conference. Through apologetic lectures, panel discussions, and live Q&A, we're going to examine how faith and reason work together in service of the gospel. Speakers include Scott Keith, Adam Francisco, Jacob Smith, and others. That's Dallas, Texas, March 13th and 14th, and the 2026 1517 Regional Conference in beautiful downtown Bentonville, Arkansas, May 1st and 2nd. This is going to be full of speakers, music, and fellowship. The theme is Baptized into Christ. The podcast pre-conference features 40 minutes in the Old Testament, Thinking Fellows, Tough Text, and Outside Ourselves. This is a big one. It's a lot of fun. Speakers include Daniel Price, Kelsey Kalbara, Chad Bird, Scott Keith, Caleb Keith, Flame, and others. You can go over to 1517.org, go to the events page, and you can register for all those events. And there's no guarantee that tickets will be there for a long time. So get over there, register for those events. We would love to see you there.
Flame's wife got baptized.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Yeah, I saw
God
that.
be praised.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know she wasn't, so there we are.
I did not either, so, well,
Yeah.
good for them. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. 100,000 welcomes to you today. This is the Band of Books podcast, a part of the 1517 Podcast Network. And we, as always, are your host, Christopher Gillespie.
Who is always chilling and willing, maxing and relaxing, without meds,
In the morning.
in the morning.
And I am Donovan Riley with meds in the morning.
It's not a point of shame or pride. It's just a point.
No. It's just actually
I'm just a mellow person.
one of the few things my father actually left me as an inheritance was anxiety disorder. So thank you. Yeah. Troy and Abed in the morning.
Right.
But,
exactly. There you go. Now you know the reference.
But yeah, we're here today, and it is 2 days after Ash Wednesday.
The Friday of after Ash Wednesday, right?
That's 2 days after Ash Wednesday, and so this Sunday is Lent 1
Invocavit.
in the Western Church calendar. You have Lesser Lent and Greater Lent in the Eastern Church calendar, which I think is kind of cool too, though.
We've been doing that. You do the Gesmas, right?
Yeah, I do. Yep.
Yeah. So
Like
we
it.
have
And so
the Babylonian exile before we get
that's right.
the
I like it.
Sinai exile
No,
or
I
Sinai
like it.
journey.
It's a very organic in the 1 year lectionary cycle because you get all the healing passages, you get the parables.
Yeah, it's
And
helpful.
so it's a nice. I think it's a nice tee up for Lent 1. Then
I mean, it isn't. Is it all that distinguishable from the end of Epiphany in the 3 year? Probably not, but we just celebrate Transfiguration on a different day.
Well, the thing is, so this Sunday in the 1 year in the historic lectionary, it's the temptation of Jesus.
I think it is for everybody.
Yeah, you're right, because our friend is on the 3 year and he sent me a sermon. It's the same text.
Yeah.
But I brought it up in the sermon last week and was talking about it. Is in Irish it's called Imbolc, and what Imbolc is, it's the turning towards spring. In the United States, sometimes you'll hear it referred to as false spring, where you have a thaw, it gets warm, then you get a blizzard.
Oh yeah, we had 60 degrees last week.
Yeah. So Imbolc, it's basically it's the beginning of the milk. Imbolc actually means like the beginning of the milk, like the animals start producing again and chickens start laying again. And so there's this turn towards spring, turning towards the beginning of the year in the old calendar. And so the readings then are all about healing in the Gesimas. And there's a turning in the readings then from the birth of Jesus, the baptism of
The revelation of
Jesus
who
and
he
the
is,
temptation,
yeah.
the transfiguration toward
Miracle. Yeah.
healings. And as the earth wakes up and we turn toward the planting and we turn toward the beginning of the year, the newness, which of course comes with Easter, the healings are interesting then because they are a point of anticipation
Yeah.
for the resurrection, for the end of the ages, which is when all eyes are dried, all wounds are healed, and so on.
Yeah. And that's not lost on the Sundays in Lent.
Well, it's not. It's there. It's not lost on the lectionary. It's not lost on the readings. It's lost on us in the modern church because we don't actually associate the seasons with the liturgical calendar and the feasts.
No.
And as a consequence, we don't have a connection then, again, cosmologically, big picture,
Right.
to seasons and days and months.
Well, the move from harvest into Advent,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
very natural.
Yeah.
The move from December 31st to January 1st is completely arbitrary. It makes no sense.
Right. Right.
It's just like, why is this the end of the year and the beginning of the year?
Right.
Who set this calendar? What bright idea was that?
Mhm.
We just dealt with this with the Passover. Because with the Passover, you have a new calendar instituted.
Yeah.
Like, this is now the first month. And on the 10th day, you pick out the lamb. And on the 14th day, you sacrifice it.
Right.
And your whole year is oriented around the Passover now.
Right.
As the chief festival. And,
Well-
so the calendar is there in service of,
Right.
well, telling the story again, really.
I think this is what Paul's after in Colossians when he addresses, hey, there's signs and seasons. We get this in the first chapter of Genesis. We know all about signs and seasons. We know what they're for. But in the same way that the
Do we?
Sabbath
I mean, we can't even see the stars and planets.
Well, in the same way like the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath.
Right.
Likewise, the signs and the seasons were made to guide you, to act as messengers of God, creatures of God. But don't become enslaved to them. The Chaldeans worshiped the stars and thought that their power came from the stars.
The creature rather than the creator.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he's saying, like, don't get hung up on days and times and memorials. Rather recognize when the stars are here and this is happening, this is when these other things happen because God created this to function this way, to act this way. So therefore, don't get so caught up in, well, look at this is amazing. We should definitely stop, make this like a law.
Right.
We have to do this now because this is
And when you
happening.
create like whole narratives around like
Right.
what does it mean if Mercury's in retrograde or
Right,
something?
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't even know.
Versus that's nice that it's in retrograde, but what is Mercury's purpose? Like,
Right.
what did God make it for?
When you can see with the Magi from the East, because they get it just right. They're like, we have to search the scriptures
Yeah.
to understand what this is a sign of. And
Right.
then they have the prophet Daniel. And it's
Right.
like, okay, yeah, we
Right.
get it now. Right. The
Well,
star,
and-
well, actually, it's what is it? The fourth oracle to Balaam, right? So that's
Yeah,
from Numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from Numbers. They didn't have Daniel. They had Numbers.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, well, that's a deep cut.
Right.
I'm surprised you found that.
Right.
Of course, there's the Spirit
Yeah, of
at work
course.
there. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, until like 400 or so years ago, everybody understood it was a star and an angel. That's why it was moving.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
And it appeared and disappeared.
and also cosmologically, they also understood that all stars have souls. Like these are creatures; they actually have a soul. And so, yeah, of course, it's moving. It's an angel.
But I mean, don't you think this is rhetorical?
Yeah.
Don't you think, these mega, balls of gas in the skies that
Yeah.
the Lord would set those there just to,
Hang out.
yeah,
Like, look at that! Isn't that
that
cool?
seems
You're
a
like,
little
that is
excessive,
cool.
right?
Well, then it becomes like ornaments on a Christmas tree. Like, those are cool. But anyways, we have stuff to do.
Those are cool, but anyway, and you're like, that's like,
Yeah.
however many millions of light years away, and
Right.
hundreds of thousands of feet or
Yeah.
miles across, and
Right.
you're like, and it's burning,
Well,
until the
in
end
the
of the
discarded
days.
image, which we're going to read a excerpt from it or meditation on today, in the discarded image, he does point out that for the medievals, you look up at the cosmos to understand yourself because the body is a miniature cosmos. Like our body is designed the exact same way the cosmos is designed. because again, there's always the vertical layers.
Everything does revolve around me.
Right.
That's
So,
definitely
and you
true.
see this, the people will
That
share
was a
memes
joke.
like,
Don't say
hey,
right.
isn't it weird that our nervous system looks like the tree, the root
Oh,
structure of a
right. Yeah,
tree?
yeah.
Or isn't it weird that our fingerprints look the same as the swirls on a tree trunk? It's like,
Yeah.
no, that's not an accident, dummy.
No.
But the problem is with Descartes and the popularity of essentially that the world, the universe, not the cosmos, but the universe is just material pieces. It's material parts, and they're all dead. They're all just mass. They're all matter. They don't have souls. They're not creatures. And it was Descartes who popularized this dualism, this binary way of seeing everything as either matter or not. And then of course it got internalized. So everything that is happening is inside of you. It's all thought. It's all reasoning and logic.
So a sharp distinction between flesh and spirit or body
Right.
and soul.
So for us, then we look inward to understand out versus they're saying, no, you have to look at the cosmos to understand yourself. Or like I've said, like the Druids would say, if you can't see the entirety of reality from the 1 foot of sod you're standing on, you're not going to find it. Everything you need to know about reality is right under your feet.
Which is true. For the ancient world, almost nobody moved.
Yeah, you didn't need to.
So you could understand just from where you were.
Right. Well, think about it to your point then. Okay, so that's all about locatedness. And this is actually a good point for the altar because in locatedness, this is where I'm meant to be, right here. And if you need to find me, I'll be right here.
Yeah.
And when God then says, this is where I am located, and when you need to find me, I'll be right here, nobody would have a problem with that statement because you are rooted. And the rootedness is the deepening of reality. It's
And you
the
don't
deepening
need to
of
be
life.
anywhere else.
Right. If you think about courtship in the old world, courtship is a deepening of love. It's a deepening of knowledge. It's a deepening of the relationship because we're not going to just jump into bed and then decide to get married later. We're literally going to court. There's a whole ritual. There's a whole dynamic. There's a whole thing set up culturally and interpersonally where you're like, I want to marry her. Well, great. She wants to marry you. Now there's a process, right? And this is the steps.
And it's community, right?
It's entirely communal, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
You literally would sit down with your family and discuss whether or not you would even engage this question, right? And there were matchmakers locally. That was their job. They were literally matchmakers. Like you had doulas locally. They were the people that would deliver babies, but they were even more than that. Often the doula was the matchmaker. It was this whole ritual, this whole rite. Well, then when you go into church, this is where Christ is located. This is where heaven comes and is located. And therefore, the same doula, the Holy Spirit, is doing the same thing. In fact, Paul uses that term to describe not only himself as a doulos, a slave, but also the Holy Spirit as a doula. And so they understood locatedness as deepening. And this is where I'm getting at. But when you locate in all of reality subjectively inside your head, you have no roots because you can go anywhere your imagination.
So the world doesn't revolve around me.
Right. It's me-centric. Yeah. It's meocentric, not heliocentric, not terracentric, not dentrocentric. It's me-centric.
Well, what is idios?
Wherever I am.
What does idios mean?
Idios, that you are your own self. You are on your own self.
Yeah, so it would be idiocentric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The world revolves around the idiot, me. Yeah. and so, yeah. So then when you say, well, this is where I'm located, everyone then will turn and go, well, no, wait a minute. He's wherever I am. Because if I leave home and travel to the other side of the country or the other side of the world, are you saying I have to come home to find Jesus? Well, no, but you do have to go to his house.
Yeah.
His embassy, so to speak. Well, but why can't I just worship God wherever I'm at? Well, because he's located and you're not. You're a tumbleweed. That's not how this works. And for thousands and thousands of years, if you were born in Jerusalem, that's where you stayed. You never really traveled, even up until the 40s and 50s where I live at, it was common for people to never travel further than 20 miles in any direction because as you'll listen to the old timers say or read, everything you need to know about the world is within 20 miles of my house. And then after the war, of course, the Second World War, where you had mass movement and mass migration during the war, and then with cars becoming popularly available to people, you could just drive away.
So who would, or what were the kind of people that we call people with wanderlust? You know,
that's me.
Well, I know. And,
I was that
and
way.
I have too. I mean, there's certainly places I want to go. But I mean, what do you call those sorts of people? I mean, travelers, I guess, but But it's more than that.
Well, it's called getting lost in the old stories.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was driving after. Because you're trying to find something that you already have.
Or alternatively, you're not hunting, you're being hunted, you're running away. There's usually two stories. One is you're being hunted, the other one is you're hunting for.
And you do have in the scripture, he drives them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he drives them into the wilderness.
Right.
Israel did not want to leave Egypt.
Right.
Any more than Pharaoh wanted to let them go.
Right. Until I moved where I live at today, I never lived anywhere longer than 4 years my whole life.
Yeah. You're almost like a military brat then.
Almost. And that transitoriness then fed my wanderlust. But underneath it all, it was, again, I need to be healed and no one can heal me. So I'll live in Louisiana, and then I'll live in Mexico, and I'll live in Portland, and I'll go to Guatemala, and I'll live all over Minnesota in the Midwest. Somebody's got to be able to heal me versus, well, what changed? Well, I was located. God located me. Meaning he didn't find me. He literally put me and went, here's where your roots. We're gonna deepen you right here.
And I tend to go the other way. I mean, pastoral ministry doesn't necessarily accommodate this, but like I'm not going to relocate unless he forcibly moves me.
Exactly.
For that reason, because it's not good for anyone.
Lost?
Yeah,
no one wants to purposely get lost. That's what young people do.
It's an adventure.
Without knowing. Right. Well, it is. It's a quest. But the point of pilgrimage is not the leaving or the finishing. The point of pilgrimage is who you meet on the path. Because you do meet holy men and
you do come
demons.
back home. You come back home. It's there and back again.
Well, that's the temptation. The temptation is to get seduced by the wild, to get seduced by the road, to get seduced by the forest, and not want to come back. But the whole point of getting lost and going on a pilgrimage is to bring wisdom back, because like we were talking about, when the center's in chaos, wisdom has to come from the margins. It has to come from the wild places, which is why Jesus is in the wilderness this Sunday.
Right.
And rather than leave, the angels come to him in the wilderness and say, no, God is actually located in the place where you would least expect to find him, which is in the wild. But that's where wisdom lives.
Of course, he comes to Pigtown, or he comes
because
to
of
Sherman
course,
Center. Yeah.
The reading from Luke for chapel yesterday for us was Jesus is invited to the Pharisee, and the woman comes in and cries on his feet and wipes them with her hair. The chaos is at the center. And so a woman comes from the margin after.
And there's the conflict then.
Yeah, she brings wisdom from the margin. And the Pharisee goes, don't you know who she is? And Jesus kind of quote unquote parabolically, but not parabolically, says, well, when I came in, you didn't offer me any oil for my feet. You didn't offer me water to wash my hands. No one even gave me a towel. This woman, ... So in that interchange, like in Parsifal with Kundry, the woman who comes in Luke, she's not named a prostitute. She's just called a sinner. She is literally the primeval messenger of God. She is the beloved of God. And what's weird is, symbolically, she's the virgin.
Right. Her bridegroom has come.
No one can see her anointing him for death, because no one sees that she is virgin when she is with Christ. Right. When the blind man is healed and rather than go home follows Jesus.
Right.
He's saying the village isn't my reality. You are.
Well, he never knew he never knew the village the way now he knows Christ.
So the village says, oh, he can see. Whereas Jesus says, well, he can see now, but what he sees is he sees the telos, right? He sees the end. He sees the big picture. He sees me.
Yeah. Who else can we go to?
And so he says, I'm going to follow you to the cross because you're it. But everyone Jesus does that to follows him.
Have you ever, I don't know if I've seen this in art or in film. It'd be curious to see all of those characters that he picks up along the way.
Yeah.
Around him, or even at Pentecost. That would be cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's any depiction of that. Because it says they followed him. It doesn't say that they left. It does say that some people left him, John 6, but...
well, it's like Charles says, in Flannery O'Connor's, like in Why is Blood, it's like a good man is hard to find. Is in Flannery O'Connor, it's always the misfit that, again, is outside the town. He's outside of law and order. He's outside of morality, so to speak. That's the one who comes in and exposes the false Christianity and the false religiosity of the main character.
Yeah.
And she loves to do that by subverting those expectations.
I said this the other day, or I was just in catechesis this week, because...
Yeah, because like in Wise Blood, the prophet is just an absolute maniac.
So one of the parents asked about, why did they build a golden calf like a month after they came out of Egypt? I'm like, because they never stopped worshiping the calf.
Right. Right.
right? And I also thought of something else interesting here. I'll just say it because whatever, you can take it or leave it. But what died in the 10th plague? It was the firstborn of Egypt, including the firstborn of the cattle.
Yeah.
So then they make a calf.
Yeah.
So they're almost trying to raise the dead cow
firstborn,
from
yeah.
Egypt. Yeah,
Yeah.
the firstborn of the cattle.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then I'm like, well, how do you end up with Pharisees?
Right.
You know, it's what happens when God's silent for 400 years.
Yeah.
And they stop listening.
Right.
Right. They still had the prophets. There's
I
still
mean,
the
God
word.
wasn't silent. You just killed all of his preachers.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
doesn't help.
Well, and you also stopped reading the book.
And yeah, you kind of forgot. Yeah.
Which is repeated cyclical history.
Is that why there's so many Pharisees in our churches today?
I made that suggestion. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Was that an illusion?
It was. It was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's because some word has to take its place.
Right.
Some
Like
guiding
ashes.
principle or something like
Yeah.
that, right?
Ashes for water.
Well, don't add water to your ashes. Bad idea. That's lie.
That's why people just get rid of the baptismal font and just put a big pool of ashes in its place.
Did somebody do that?
Yeah, of course people do that. Every Ash Wednesday.
They put
substitute
ashes
ashes for baptism because it's tradition.
Yeah. I don't
See,
even
this
know
is
what I did with my
happens
little.
when you get rid of all the stuff that we had originally and then realize, oh, we need something symbolic to give this night meaning.
Well, you end up like what is it in Ezekiel where he's talking about the big statue to some female goddess. I can't know who it is.
Right.
In the temple. You're like, what?
No, Ash Wednesday is literally Parsifal sitting next to the wounded king, not knowing the one true question and being like, I have ashes. He's like, dude, I'm wounded. I'm bleeding. I don't need you to remind me. It's like, well, we have to be reminded. I'm like, yeah, that we're in Christ.
Yeah, sackcloth and ashes is a fine.
No, it just,
pious
again, it's a
tradition.
personal rant, but you see everybody posting from dust you came and to dust you shall return. No, I'm in Christ. And so to Christ
Yeah.
I shall return.
Right.
Stop it. Stop
I said,
pretending.
remember whose dust you are.
No, you're not dust. You will be raised.
Yeah,
You are
yeah.
in Christ.
Yeah. But he brings
You're
life
a
out
new
of dust.
creation.
He brought the gnats out of the dust
Everybody
too.
pulls out the old wineskins for Ash Wednesday.
I know, it's fine. We can rant on this every.
Same thing on Monday, Thursday.
I go back and
Just
forth.
absurd.
Some years I'm just like you. Some years I'm the complete opposite.
Well,
Keep-
yeah, you
don't
got
wanna
to
be
read the room
predictable.
pastorally. Like, what do my people need?
Yeah. Yeah.
But my people, especially nowadays, since 2020, my people need water. Constant water in the cup. They need the cup.
Yeah, it's interesting. No problem having ashes on Ash Wednesday, but put water in the font. Oh
Yeah.
my!
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that wild?
It was like
Too close. Too close.
what? I guess because the ashes are kind of empty. Well, yeah, they are
Yeah.
empty.
Well, it's
That's
like
right.
Gawain and the Green Knight. Of course, Gawain. The hinge of the story is when Gawain comes to the holy well and there's a woman in it. You're like, wait a minute, there's a woman in this well. It's like, yeah, it's a holy well. I wonder who the woman might be. Strange. Yeah, and actually, the lady in the lake.
I was just thinking of the watery tart.
Well, she might be Saint Bridget actually, because
Oh, yeah?
Saint Bridget is also the patron saint of metalworkers. And the sword that was made, the Excalibur sword that was made, wasn't. It's a whole dating thing, but anyways, it was made out of this raw metal that was in the area. So the speculation then is that the lady in the lake is actually Saint Bridget, and she made the sword, or one of her maidens, one of her nuns, gave Arthur then the sword originally.
Well, in the Pendragon show, it comes from Atlantis. It's kind
Yeah, of
fun,
course it
too.
does. Of course. I'm sorry. I misspoke. I'm wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah, strange women lying in ponds distributing swords is no basis for a system of government.
That's right. Exactly. God bless you, Monty Python. But anyways, no. And I just say that because modern storytellers have completely stripped the Christianity from all these stories on purpose.
Yeah. So my mother, who was a librarian by
Yes,
trade,
God bless you. We
Yeah,
talked about
she,
it last week, and
she responded. It's like, what resources do you have for me to learn how to read stories Christologically?
Symbolic World with Jonathan Pageau.
I know.
Universal
I've given
History,
her that, and
and Martin Shaw, of course.
I said
Shaw
it's really a new project for both of us. More you than me.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you're doing it actively,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it requires an active imagination. Or it's not even just an active one, an
Here's-
inspired one.
Yeah. Yes. Because like I was explaining actually just 2 weeks ago, I said I started doing this whole self-driven PhD on Anglo-Saxon and Irish evangelism and Christianity in the early church because I just wanted to understand how they did apologetics and how they preached. And I was led there actually through Grimm's and through a guy named Murphy who did some work with the Heliond, which is this is the Danish reworking of the four Gospels into language that's to the Danes. It's amazing. And yet Tatian did the exact same thing in the Diatessaron for his people. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, there's this whole tradition in the early medieval church of like, we're going to translate this into the language of the people so that they can understand the Bible in their own cultural milieu, like imagery and so forth, without compromising the accuracy of the original text. And this is like pre-Latin, pre-Vulgate, as far as the Vulgate was there, but they weren't using it
Well, I mean, you have to
until they were
respond.
forced by the Franks.
There is the accusation that if you're not a strict literalist,
Yeah,
right? I mean, and
that's a
maybe
very
that's
modern,
well,
very modern,
it's
very
also a
recent understanding.
fundamentalist kind of tradition, isn't it?
It is. No, that's where it comes from. It comes from revivalist preachers and the revivalist movement that we
Like
covered.
stick to the text, which we do.
Yeah. I
But
don't think you understand, though, that all translation is commentary.
Well,
That's
we
the
add
problem that
we all
modern-
add commentary. That's
Well,
what
that's the problem
preaching
that moderns
does.
have, though, is they assume that there's literally one translation of the text. This is why literal translation is a lie. That's again, that comes from the scientific enlightenment. It's a
Right.
modern innovation. It's not original to.
Well, like I said with the golden calf, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can take that,
yeah,
and it's not like one's false and the other's true. It's multivalent. There's layers to it.
well,
Yes,
it's like when
the
I send you
Egyptian-
my translations of the Anglo-Saxon. I'm
Mhm.
like, isn't this cool the way they translate this? You're like, that is cool.
Yeah.
Why don't we translate it that anymore? Well, because they were taking directly from, versus we're not. And like I said, once you get into Anglo-Saxon Christianity, all of a sudden you're like, why is Ephraim the Syrian and Semitic theology showing up in Britain? Oh, because they were directly influenced by that.
Because they were as
Oriental
wild
church.
as Syria was. Yeah.
Well, because they had a little route of pilgrimage back and forth between Syria and Great Britain, and the Irish were influenced by the Egyptians. So then you got to like, how did the Egyptians get up to Ireland? Well, there's actually a long history of that, and they're not that far apart actually when you look at it. And so all of a sudden that brings you deeper into Semitic theology, and then you get the Tower 7 of, oh, there's a third church. There's not just East and West. And then you get into the Semitic theology, and you get into Jacob the Serig and Isaac the Syrian and others, which then leads you back to that, to Anglo-Saxon and Irish, which then gets you deeper into medieval theology and the influence of the Franks and the Vatican on medieval theology.
Mm-hmm.
And then you started getting into translations, you start getting into literature, and all of a sudden now you're butting up to, why are all these monks writing these myths and legends and folktales about not just saints, but Arthur, Beowulf, Parsifal, Gawain, on and on and on. And now you're getting dragged into actually Arabic poetry from the 13th and 12th centuries, because of course the Muslims are coming up through Africa into Spain and France and Europe.
Right.
And so like in Parsifal, his half brother is Muslim. He's a Moor from Africa. And all of a sudden you're like, well, this is a 12th century story. Where's this Muslim coming from? Well, they were already coming.
Yeah, but we've talked about this before. That's the whole projection of this time being Dark Ages, and like nothing was happening and nothing was moving, and there was there was no growth, and there was no literature, there's no art.
Yeah,
I mean, everything was just kind of flat for 1,000 years.
Neoclassicism. Yeah.
Right.
Versus, and then you get back to Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, who are really the big two, who are kind of the guides, I think.
Yeah, and before them, like George MacDonald and.
Well, I would say more Tolkien and Lewis, because they were classicists.
They were classicists,
and they were very public of like, read this, translate that. This guy connects to this guy, and you have to understand this. Especially Tolkien as a Roman Catholic, like we've talked about. Like for him, of course, the Grail is the center of medieval piety and politics and life and everything. So then you get back into cosmology, like the discarded image, where Lewis is like, hey, we got to really take serious this cosmology, because. And then the Grail influences that entire cosmology. And then they're saying, hey, this isn't even a medieval innovation. This has been around in every religion, by the way, forever. So what's that about?
And I think the accusation is that they're anti-modern because of the war.
Yeah.
And that's certainly
Well, they're
influenced
anti-modern
them.
because of the Industrial Revolution. And guys
Or
like
the
Max
Industrial
Weber,
Revolution. Yeah, yeah.
who are just beating the crap out of superstition.
And that is an influence. There's no
and
doubt.
the Victorians are also,
But I think
weren't
it's
fans.
I think it's bigger than that. I think it's the deeper truth.
Right.
And you have.
So let me float this to you. So
Yeah.
in Parsifal, the original, the Grail's a rock, not a chalice. So that comes later. So it's either or. It's not one or the other. But the oldest tellings from the French and then Wolfram, the German knight, it's a stone, which means then that the altar stone is the Grail. So now trace the altar all the way back to Seth and his family, where they built an altar.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the altar stone
it's a bloody rock instead of a bloody cup.
is a Grail.
Yeah.
That's the Grail. So now all of a sudden you're like, what's the stone thing about? Well, where was the blood spilled? Well, it was spilled on the rock. Well, who brought the rock? Angels. And now all of a sudden you're like Chrétien de Troyes, this French guy, and then Wolfram von Eschenberg, this German knight, are like, yeah, like if you trace this all the way back, the blood was originally on the rock. This is why, by the way, Aslan is killed on the stone table in
Right.
Narnia,
Right.
because Lewis is drawing specifically from medieval
Those are
legend,
traditions, yeah.
which is drawing from ancient Near Eastern legend about the stone being the Grail, being where the blood is poured out.
Yeah, and you've pointed it out this repeatedly, but the explicit reference to it not being hewn stone when they build the altars until the temple.
Because it's from heaven.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Just take the stones as they are,
Right.
and make the altar or the pillar
Right.
or whatever it is. Yeah.
So when, for example, Jacob is in the wilderness, oh, there he is, and he's lost, because he is, and he's running away, because he is, he takes a stone and uses it as his pillow, right? That's not an accident then that he receives a vision.
It's
of
also
angels.
absurd, but
Well, of course it's absurd.
Yeah.
But also, again, it's a literal stone. It's an actual stone that came from heaven, because what is happening? He receives a vision of angels descending and providing this message.
right.
And then when he wakes up, what does he do? He goes home. He eventually is led back home,
Well, he also reconciles to his brother.
because the chaos is in center. Because why? Because he left and stole the birthright. He
Yeah.
stole. So again, I'm here. This is where I've been living the last 2 months. I'll be here till Easter. At the beginning of Parzival, the goblet, Arthur's chalice, is outside the castle because the Red Knight took it from him over a land dispute, and he spilled some wine on Guinevere's dress. So as Parzival's going in on his donkey, the Red Knight says, "Hey, by the way, when you're in there, could you do me a favor and apologize to Guinevere? I didn't want to spill, I didn't mean to spill wine on her. I'm sorry for disrespecting and insulting her. But also tell Arthur, the fact that the king has no cup is an insult to you, because none of your knights are brave enough to come and take it from me. So you go tell him, all the cowards in your court, come and take it back."
Apologize
right?
to Guinevere
And so who ends up killing the Red Knight and getting the cup? Parzival. But Parzival isn't ready yet. He doesn't know what this means. So he doesn't take the cup. He just rides off on the Red Knight's. Well, actually, the Red Knight's horse carries him away because he doesn't have control over it, which is the whole thing about the horse and the rider that I wrote about this week. So again, it's the cup of Christ, the blood of Christ, the rock that is the Grail, is there, front and center, from the very beginning. Behold, the Lamb of God crucified. Even all the images of Genesis
Yeah.
are of Christ on
Well,
the
the rock
tree.
of offense and stumbling stone.
Right,
Too.
100%. So once you tie that all together, now you get a cosmic illustration of the cup that you drink on Sunday. Well, now what does that mean for your life? Well, it means literally everything that you see and hear is referenced against the cup. So for the medievals, that was the point. Even for Luther, of course, because he's still medieval. So then you get to modernity, and
Wait,
Lewis.
wait a minute. If it's the cup,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's explicitly said, but the reference, the refusal to distribute the cup
Right.
to the people,
Right.
why that was such a great offense.
That's why.
One, because the words, right?
Right.
I mean,
But
that's how I usually take it.
If the Grail is a stone originally, then the stone in the wilderness that spews water, when it's struck,
right,
well, when Jesus is struck, he
right,
spews water
out
because
comes
he
the
is the
side.
rock, right?
Yeah.
That's how you get to, well, how can you say the rock is Jesus? Because you don't understand. The Grail originally was a rock and then became a cup when it was located for you for the forgiveness of sins. That's the New Testament.
Yeah, he's the rock and the cup.
And it
the,
only took me 4 years to get to this point. So
well,
here we
and
go.
how did you get to it? You get it through
lead.
these stories. These
Yeah.
stories
Yeah.
that are reflections on the scripture,
Yeah.
right?
That lead you back into Scripture
back into scripture
and go,
yeah.
hey, dummy, you missed this. You're like, oh, yeah, I did miss
But
that.
I don't know if we tell stories this way.
We don't anymore.
We
That's
talked
why
about
it's
that
so
last
weird.
week. The kind of the flat, modern
Yeah.
story.
Everything's
like
material.
Yeah.
Everything's dead. Yeah.
Before we
everything's
went
an
live, you were talking about like the necessity for there to be a tidy resolution to everything.
Yes, that's a Western
I mean,
thing,
obviously
yeah.
the main conflict probably, but
But conflicts are never concluded. This is why Jesus says what? There's always wars.
Well,
and
there's a
rumors
French
of
word for
wars.
this, right? The
There's always
denouement.
poor. Yeah.
no, I mean, I would say that whatever the crisis is in that particular story has some resolution. Maybe not the greater conflict or the greater crisis.
Well,
it's like-
one reflects the other, right? The land is in trouble because the king is wounded. So
But
when
it's
the
like
king
you
is healed, the land heals.
defeat Sauron, but you didn't defeat Sauron. He's still out there,
Right.
right? And then there's still these greater evils that are still
Well,
present.
there's Morgoth. Where's Morgoth?
There's Morgoth.
Yeah.
We don't know. I mean, he's in the background.
Yeah, exactly. In the bigger picture, Sauron is he's
He's
like he's a
a
maitre
puppet.
d'. He's nothing. He's a
Yeah.
middle management guy.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Smaug in The Hobbit. Smaug is just a little bitty dragon compared to the great dragon. You're like, oh, okay.
Right, right. So, I mean, the story has a resolution of a sort.
There's always a multiplicity of meaning because there's a multiplicity of meanings. So, like I said, not find, I should rephrase this. Pray that the Lord would drop you into something in the Bible that he goes, this is what this means for you today, or for the next 3 months, or for the next year. Are you the woman at the well? Are you the woman with the flow of blood? Are you Ruth? Are you Job? Are you Jonah? And when he drops you into that, of course it's awful. It's awful because I'm Jonah. I don't want to be Jonah. But yet you won't preach to these people that you consider to be this great evil. You won't, you beg for death, or you're just lost. You don't know what to do because you're trying to get away from God.
Well, we had this happen. It happened to me last year, and it was remarked by a member because there was significant conflict happening, and it also happened to be around Holy Week, right?
Yeah.
And so, as it would be,
Right.
it seems like we end up in crisis during Holy Week. I don't know why.
Right.
And then, that's sarcasm. I do know why. And her comment was like, "This story is about you." Like, well, it's of Christ, but yes, because I'm.
We're
in Christ.
always the last ones to see
Oh, of course.
because we're inside ourselves. We can't.
Yeah, yeah,
We're navel gazers.
yeah. Well, you need a preacher. In other words,
This week I was reading that outside the altar, the place where heaven and earth are the most present and the most prominent is in your garden. This is why you need to have a garden. Because the garden is where heaven and earth are fully present.
the water and the sun, and then the soil
The
and
garden.
the earth, and
The garden. The garden.
the big
Yeah.
garden.
It's the garden.
Your
of
little
the
garden is a sign
Yeah.
of the big garden. Okay.
Yeah. And so this is why, of course, when you have no tie to the land, for example, you don't have a garden because you live in the city. Well, then
Then you
where's
lose
heaven
your
and earth?
connection to the big garden.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
So is it? What's the language we've used? Participating in reality.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
the vertical and the horizontal are all jacked up.
Oh, but I
because-
just need it for the utility of the food.
Right. Yeah, that's true too.
But I think it's true. We've said this about pets. Pets are this way, like caring for an
course.
animal.
Yeah.
I mean, even a city dweller has a cat. Why? Well, because cats are evil. No.
I
That's
have
not
two. They guard me every night. Yes.
right. They will eat you too when you die.
Yes.
The-
Well, God bless them.
But it's that relationship to creation.
Yeah, it's the relationship to Eden. It's actually the relationship to the resurrection, because it's both and, right?
Where the lions and lambs lay down
it's both
together.
and. It's you're looking
yeah.
forward to get backwards. You're looking backwards to.
That's
go forward.
true. I mean, the garden and the resurrection both have that participatory.
Yeah, it's all the same thing. Again, the resurrection in Revelation is Genesis 1. Like, it's pretty clear. The descriptions are the same. That's the beauty of it. Is that
back
people,
to Eden then.
Yeah, well, they just put Revelation on because it's got a nice ending. Well, no, they were led by the Spirit it's a circle. The entire Bible is a circular library.
And then there's circles within the circles of
yeah,
Revelation. Yeah.
Again, you can look online at the memes of the interconnectedness and reference points in the Bible. It's hundreds of thousands. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But the point then is, we don't have this conversation because we've forgotten. We don't remember. And unless you're led to it, like I was led to it, so I'm not claiming any of this is my doing. And I'm just going, I'm in the boat, but I'm not controlling the current or where the boat steers.
Yeah, and it's interesting the teachers that have come along the way for you. Right?
For sure.
Because you had
it's wild.
Ephraim was one, but
Well, I'm
Maximus
like
was
Moses.
another.
I'm Moses in the basket, and an Egyptian pulled me out of the water and said, "I'm going to teach you something."
Yeah.
You're like, but I don't know Egyptian. We'll teach you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes you weirder in a good sense, I think. And it makes people leave you alone because you're weird. So instead of calling you hypocritical or judgmental, they just go, he's weird.
Weird is a modern way of saying wild, but
Yeah, that too.
you've always appreciated the wildness of.
Well, of course, because I'm Irish, so there's madness in me by nature. But, but no, it is literally for me, and I think for many other people, it is, how do I get connected to something like this big, just simply put it, like as a Christian, my family tree goes back to, well, according to Luke, it goes back to Adam, because I'm a Gentile. I'm a dog Gentile, right? I just bark, bark, bark. So how do I recover the family lineage that is my inheritance as a baptized child of God? But even within that, how do I recover my earthly lineage as someone descended from Irish people and Scandinavian people and whatever?
Yeah. Or
Because that gives
to
you
be a
place.
son of Abraham, right?
Right. Like I
Jesus
know
talks
my
about.
great uncle built churches, and I know that I've got missionaries in my past. But how do I get connected past 3 generations ago to an even deeper rooting in like, oh, this isn't an accident that I'm a pastor. I thought it was when I first was converted because I didn't know my family history that thoroughly.
Mm-hmm.
And then you learn about it and go, oh, okay. So
It
this
might have been
isn't,
dormant for a time
well, exactly. And
or
as I was
fallow.
explaining to my children, as Lewis says, your imagination often gets baptized before, your heart or your soul is. He's leading you. That's the imagination is the path of the Holy Spirit kind of stuff. He's leading you through the door, but he's doing it so gently. He's like, oh, you think that's cool? Look at this. You're like, oh, that is cool. He's
And
like,
I mean, it is part of the wisdom of time where you can chronologically look back and
sure,
say,
right,
I wasn't ready for that 10 years ago.
right.
Like,
When you encounter like an old woman holding her dead husband
hmm
and she can't stop weeping and she's missing her hair because she keeps pulling it out in chunks. It's a true story, but also it's a mythical story. It's both. And you go, I don't know what to do with this because I'm young and I've not experienced grief like this.
no.
And then you do. And then now all of a sudden, you're not looking at it, you're not observing it, you're in it. And of course, you learn then when you're young, you think you have to have words for everything, like Peter on the mountain. But that's just a sign of fear and insecurity. And then as you mature and you're seasoned by the Holy Spirit, hey, now we're just going to sit here and cry. We're going
Yeah.
to weep, or I'm going to sit with you while you cry on me, and I'm just going to hold you because we're going to talk in words that don't come out of your mouth. Deep words. Again, most things that come out of your mouth are shallow.
Well,
The
that's,
real,
I mean,
the
that's what
real,
Jesus says of the Spirit with groanings too deep for
yeah,
words.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That there's just a time to say I love you, but then there's just a time to hold each other. That's a much deeper language. That's what I mean by deepening when I was talking earlier is when you sit with old married couples who can speak without talking in words, and you're like, what are you guys doing? But then when you're married for 30 years and you do it,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, oh, now I understand.
Oh, there's so much nonverbal. Yeah.
This is why, again, as a parent, you never want to tell your children the one true meaning of anything because that's your one true meaning. It's not theirs. They haven't gone on a quest yet. They haven't gotten lost. And of course, you want to keep them safe inside the castle because you know there's monsters. But they have to go encounter those monsters. Otherwise, they'll grow to hate you because you can't contain that.
Yeah.
That's not the point.
And I think that, I mean, that's especially true with philosophy,
Right.
Ideology of
Well, it's true
various
in the
sorts.
Bible. Isaac needs to be contained. Nope, he's got to go. Well, Jacob and Esau need to be contained. Nope, you got to go. Well, Moses, nope, you got to
And
go.
you see the repeated errors too.
Mm-hmm.
But
What
the
happens
redemption.
when Israel stays too long in one place? Well, they smell like manure. They turn to idolatry. They start worshiping animals
right,
again,
right.
and everything goes to shit.
Yeah.
And then they have to be dragged off into captivity. And as we see, especially in the middle parts of the Old Testament, all of the witnesses to Christ and the power of the gospel are all slaves. They're all people that are dispersed. They're displaced people. And so God's like, where am I located? I'm located with this slave girl in Naaman's house. I'm not in Israel anymore.
Yeah, I mean, even the kings of Israel aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, even David is not
Yeah.
exactly. He's a marginal figure too. He's
Yeah.
out keeping sheep. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not.
Right.
The
Well,
older
think of
brother.
where Naaman goes. He goes out in the middle of nowhere. Why does the prophet live in the middle of nowhere?
How does he even find him? I mean,
Yeah,
there's
right?
all sorts
It's
of questions
wild.
there.
And then
Yeah.
he's like, go wash in the river.
Well, and in a way, the prophet found him because of the servant girl, right?
Yes,
So there's a
100%,
prophet
exactly.
in Israel. Yeah.
And how did she know there's a prophet? She's a slave girl.
Right.
And she's a little girl, it says.
Yeah.
Like, how does she know? Well,
Right.
that's the foxiness of the Holy Spirit.
And then
is-
his servants say, "Didn't he say just dip yourself in the water? Why don't you just
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Just listen to the prophet. This is not hard."
Because look, there's garbage and there's like animal feces in here. And ew,
Oh yeah, it's a gross river. I get it.
It's holy. Really?
Right.
Really?
Right.
Yeah. Well, again, that's the point, right? Is that
I've never
Phil-
seen the Parfar and the Abana, but I'm sure it's they
better
are
than
nice.
this. I'm sure they have many slaves keeping it clean all the time. But that's the point, right? Is that God is always hidden where you least expect to find him.
Yeah.
That's why Luther says that holiness looks as far from sanctification as you can get.
That inversion is really hard for people.
Well, of course it is, because we want to go to the Parfar.
Mm-hmm.
Farfar?
Parfar, yeah.
Parfar.
Or Farpar.
Farfar.
Farpar.
Far for par. There we go.
Whatever
Farfar.
it is.
Yeah. But this is, and so when you're being led, again, I go back to it that you can't find by an act of will what is only given by grace. And yet, as human beings, we have no choice but to search for what we know we won't find. That's to me, that's why I can laugh at the absurdity of things.
I could quote a U2 song here. Still haven't found what I'm looking
That's
for.
right, exactly. And you won't, but yet you have no choice.
I know.
Because what am I supposed to do? Enter into a monastery and just sit there?
Yeah, and I think, well, yeah, and I mean,
Be still and know
we
that I
said
am the Lord?
wanderlust before. I mean, that's
Mhm.
part of that searching, and then,
Yeah, you're being
but
hunted.
even intellectual curiosity,
Mhm.
or trying to learn a new trade or skill or whatnot. I mean, it's
You
trying
turn
to,
the entire world into a doctor's waiting room, and you're
mm,
just waiting to meet the doctor and go, hey, here's my malady. Can you heal me?
yeah.
Well, no, but I can refer you to another person.
What do some people say? Like trying to find answers
Right,
would be a way to say it.
right. In the absence of liturgy, and I mean that in the biggest possible sense of the word, all that's left is the search.
Well, and I made that assertion this morning that, like, gathered around Jesus, his word
Mhm.
and his body and blood,
Yeah,
everything you need to know, you receive there.
yeah,
And I know that just shocks people because they're
yeah.
like, well, but what about this domain and what about that area of life? And then
Right.
it's like, no, if this you have to hold the center
Yeah,
around, and the center it has to be Jesus,
right,
and then everything else will follow. I
right,
mean, that's how we confess good works. They
right.
follow faith, right?
Well, and
Faith given in the
I
word.
talked about the crocodile backed, the Central African, when the boys reach puberty, they're
Not
taken off.
baptizing the crocodile. That's a different
No,
story.
no, no, that's Florida Man in the Waffle House.
Florida
Yes.
man.
God bless that man.
Kind of a Florida man.
I have been to the mountaintop. I have seen the promised land. But right, you take the boys into the woods, you teach them to talk the language of the birds, and then you whip them a cane so that their back becomes scarred over, and they call it crocodile back. That's wisdom. That's the sign of wisdom because you've suffered, you've lived, you've now been brought back into the village as a man versus a boy who has no wisdom.
And you have the
It's a
marks of
threshold.
manhood, really.
Yeah, it's a threshold moment.
Yeah.
But if you look at the sun worship, the sun ceremony, the Native American sun ceremony, where they put the hooks through their chest and they hang them from poles, right, for a number of days in order to, again, suffer, but also to induce visions. And also it's a threshold, right? So when the village is in chaos, you enact this ceremony, you go out and do it. And they still do it. They just keep it on the down low nowadays, but they still do it. And again, you'll notice
It's protected by the First Amendment.
Sure. But in indigenous cultures, this is the threshold of you were a child, now
Yeah.
you're a man. The man goes into the wilderness, into the forest, and brings back wisdom, whether it be about war, whether it be about planting, whether it be about anything.
Our generation, younger
Yeah.
generations, we haven't had these thresholds,
Correct.
and we don't have
And look what happened.
we don't
We're-
have cultural
yeah.
ones. Yeah, we're
We have
perpetually
50-year-old
children.
boys
Mhm.
and girls. Right.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mentioned that. Was that? Oh, it's one of those YouTube channels you recommended to me,
Mhm.
talking about how Disney keeps you infantile.
Oh, yeah, just a moon.
Yeah, it was
covered
Moon's
that, yeah.
channel. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and
That's on purpose, yeah.
it
Because
is on
children
purpose.
have no impulse control. And they will buy and buy and buy and buy and buy.
And
See
yeah,
product,
so-
consume product.
But also, what is it about abuse of children? Because we had that conversation too.
What,
But
that we're
there's
fragmented?
Yeah, there's something about doing that to a child, a
Well, yeah,
perpetual
it
child.
fractures you. And so half of you identifies with the moment, you're trapped
Uh-huh.
in that moment of abuse, and the other half identifies with the personality in the house that denies it happened to
Yeah,
protect yourself.
yeah, which is the big mouse.
Yeah, it
these
is.
days.
No, 100%. It is. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so that's the safe place because when I watch that, I'm transported to this place that doesn't exist, but mentally, psychologically, it protects me from the trauma of, oh, this isn't fair.
have you been to Disney World?
God, no.
Okay, because it is kind of shocking
Yeah.
the kind of people that are at Disney World. Obviously, there's families with
Yeah, yeah,
children,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
So
I have many friends who go yearly, actually.
right, but those are the folks I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And why is there such a strong predilection towards like queer folk at
Right.
Disney?
Right.
And it's because they are that kind of fractured personality.
Right.
And so
Right.
they need a fairy tale,
Right.
and they go to an Americanized or whatever, commercialized. That's what
Yeah.
they say. That's American too, but
What's his face? Avery, who co-wrote Pulp Fiction. I just watched an
Oh,
interview
yeah.
with Avery. He's come out. I don't know if he's got a book coming out or what, but he's been making the rounds on podcasts. But he points out,
he was talking about AI movies too.
well, he was saying, okay, we are herd animals. We are made to yes or no everything, and so we're very suggestible. And if you understand that, and again, goes all the way back to propaganda at the turn of the century. This is what's his face's grandson, Freud's grandson, who popularized.
Oh, Bernays.
Yeah, Bernays.
Yeah.
Edward Bernays, who basically
Why is
wrote-
that name in my head? Oh my!
Because everyone used his textbook from then on to
And we talked about it with COVID.
pop.
Yeah.
I mean, it's being used right now, again. But Bernays points this out: is that people are malleable and suggestible, and so if you just repeat the same thing over and over again, they'll change everything they believe, their values. They'll move. They'll kill people that they love. You just have to repeat the same message and everyone will just event. And so what
We've talked about those kind of litanies or mantras,
that's
right?
what commercials are. Commercials are just Edward Bernays for consumers.
But it's like
just
we've always
propaganda
done
for
it this way,
consumers.
or it's tradition.
Yeah,
Those are other
100%.
ways of
Yeah.
saying the same thing. Yeah.
But people want to be agreeable because they want to be a part of what is popular, the mob. This is Nietzsche in slave morality. And once you understand how to harness the mob, say Antifa, BLM, unit whether underground, Black Panther movement, White Panther movement,
The
whatever
MAGA
it might
stuff
be.
too, though.
Yeah. What you do is you just keep repeating the same message, same message, same message. And eventually more and more people will buy the message. So if you go somewhere and they're saying, this is bad, family, like a mom and dad is bad, single parent families are good. At first, everyone goes, well, that's not true.
It's
Well,
just absurd,
look where
yeah.
we are now. 70+% of people are raised by, or children are raised by a single parent household.
Well, another example, I heard this from our friend Caleb Keith. He was saying that 51% of professed Christians, survey says, don't regularly attend church.
Yes.
They're like, how do you get to... How do you...
Message.
Yeah. It's what you do privately. It's not what you do publicly.
Right. How many hours are there in a week?
72.
Two? Something like that?
No, it's 72 is 3 days.
720?
100 and...
I'm a pastor because I'm bad at math.
what did I say? 24 by 7?
Yeah.
168.
Okay. So I get you for one. And the TV gets you for the other
with travel time,
167.
I'll give you 2.
Okay, fine. 166 hours out of 168, you're bombarded by one message. And you don't even realize it's the same message because it's just dressed up in different clothing.
Yeah.
And then I get you for 1 or 2 hours a week to
Yeah.
say, no, the entire world is a chalice and Christ's blood is poured into it. And you're
Well,
like,
that's what I
that is
point
the
out.
dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Even if you're going to just like, I don't know, pick on a commandment and say,
Yeah.
don't commit adultery. And then you've got
Right.
166 hours where it's like adultery is permissive.
Right.
You can do it on your computer now. It's even
Right.
easier, right? Horticulture's fine, whatever.
Right, yeah.
You're like the likelihood, apart from
Right.
powerful work of the Spirit to convert you, for that 1 hour
Right.
to do anything.
I say this
significant.
on Sunday morning, every Sunday, because it needs to be repeated. You are made into a chalice by Christ who pours his blood into you. And you're like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, Pastor. Where'd
But
you
you
get that
have to
from?
repeat it, is what you're saying.
However, every single day you tilt your head up and you drink beer and you pop pills and you put food down your gullet. You are a chalice, you are a grail for other powers, for other creatures, for other blood. You just don't see it because you don't see metaphor, you don't see symbolism. So you don't draw a connection. Again, as an alcoholic, it's easy for me to go, well, there's that cup and this cup. I drank out of this one a lot.
Yeah, your drinking was very worshipful.
Exactly. No, I literally was in an altar. It's called a bar.
Yeah.
And if you look at what a bar is, originally what was the bar, it was a bench. That's where the word comes from, the bench. The elders sit in the gate of the city on the bench and they decide legal cases. So you're sitting at a bar
So there's
drinking.
judgment there too. Oh.
And the judgment is, hey, man, you need another one. You've had a rough week. Or, you know what, man, we're all forgiven here at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday night.
Well, sometimes the barkeep will say that's enough.
Well, who's your priest? The bar. Who's your
Yeah.
confessor? The barkeep.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Who are the maidens who, again, in the story of the Grail, the maidens bring in all of these things to keep the wounded king medicated, essentially, because they can't heal him. So they just try to ease his pain. Well, what do you get at the bar? Well, the bar maidens, the waitresses, what do they keep serving you? Medicine. Well, what are they serving you medicine for? A wound that will never heal. And
Or
essentially-
peanuts, but
Same
yeah.
thing. And so what ends up happening is you don't understand worship, you don't understand altars, you don't understand cups, you don't understand symbolism. Why? Because they just changed the entire story.
So where do we get the expression, all of life is worship or something like that?
Yeah.
That we're made for worship.
Well, it's Augustine.
It is Augustine, but I was
Yeah.
trying to remember exactly how he
Well, our
said
hearts
it.
are restless till they find their rest in thee, O Lord.
That's from Confessions, but
Yeah. And also he puts a throne in your heart. That's Augustine too.
oh, that is Augustine. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's right.
Well, again, to a certain, yeah, he is. Because
Creatures always look for a creator.
Yeah.
Right? It's just which creator are you
right,
going to worship?
you'll find the calf eventually.
Yeah.
If you can't buy one, you'll make one.
Oh, well, it just jumped out of the fire. Yeah. Very
Yeah.
nice, Aaron. Good
Yeah.
good call.
I don't know what happened. I was just,
I mean, I did fashion it with a graving tool, but
yeah, I mean, I just happened to have it in my hand when it jumped on me.
Speaking of an imagination, it's not even all that imaginative.
No, it's
To
not.
just take a cow.
That literally are these your drugs? I don't know how those got here. I was carrying them for a friend.
Yeah.
Sir, you have 50 keys of cocaine in your trunk.
Well,
I didn't know. I don't.
Maybe they're
this
just
isn't even in my
carnivore diet
car.
people,
Yeah, sure.
so they
Yeah.
worship the cow.
Absolutely, sure. It's all about carbs. Yeah.
Can,
Are you in ketosis? No. Well, you've got a month. Yeah, no,
we can recast this narrative.
no. So all of that leads us to the discarded image.
I will.
Actually,
I will try to put a
I kind
bookmark.
of just summarized the entirety of the book for you.
Well,
But go
and this
read
is a
it.
meditation on the discarded image, so
Yes.
that's fine.
So this is from my new favorite book, Wardrobes and Rings, Through Lenten Lands with the Inklings,
okay,
by
linked in the
Julia
show
Golding,
notes.
award-winning author. Malcolm Geit, my favorite Hobbit. He's a poet, author, Anglican priest technically, but he doesn't serve a congregation.
Yeah,
and
and
Simon
lots of poetry anthologies.
He's got a new book on Gawain and the Green Knight coming out in a
I
short.
know it's pre-ordered. Comes in April.
So excited! I actually want to order the limited edition one now because I saw
I
him
know
show
you
it.
saw them.
So nice.
Gilded edges.
Oh, you want to talk about lust and covenant?
Surely you can come up with $150 or whatever it is.
Oh no, I can for sure. Like, it's not a question of want.
It's just better priorities.
Just me slathering on my TV remote when I saw it. I was like, oh.
He has excellent meditations on, like on the Psalms. That'd
Yeah,
be
I
one.
go to Substack and subscribe because he will email you his sonnets and his meditations almost every other day.
You know
couple
who
days.
introduced him to me was Dan Van Voris.
Oh, interesting.
Because back in the early days of Christian History Almanac, he mimicked the format of
Oh, hello there. Yeah, where he comes.
no
with the guy-
Garrison Keillor. Well, it was Garrison Keillor's poetry almanac,
Oh, okay.
which always ended with a poem. So
Yeah.
so Dan did that, and he used Guy all the time. So I'm like, oh, I can find out who this guy is.
Yeah.
Because I love the poetry. Really.
His sermon on the is it the Sermon on the Lamb where he does? It's on a stage though. Which one is it? It's 28 minutes. It's a sermon, but
I don't know. I have to find it.
you watched it because I shared it with you.
Of
and
course,
you
but-
love it too, but I can't remember the exact title of it. It's so good. It's so good. Maybe even on the Bread of Life. Anyways, so Julia Golding is a award-winning novelist. She writes for adults, young adults, and children, so therefore she appeals to me. Malcolm Geit, former chaplain of Girton College, Cambridge, and author of various books, and also poet. And the Professor Simon Horobin is fellow and tutor in English at Magdalen College and has lectured and published widely on C.S. Lewis and Tolkien.
So this meditation is attributed to J.B.
Yeah.
So which one was that?
JB is... I don't know. It's a
Who's
good
that
question.
refer to? I think it says J.B. at the end, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? JG.
J.G. Who's
This
J.G.?
is Julia Golding.
This is Julia. Okay.
Yeah, Julia. Yep.
There you go.
And the actual, this is for this Sunday. The reading for today is Beowulf and the Dangers of Dragon Treasure, which I wanted
Good
to
Lenten stuff.
really wanted to read because obviously I'm a Beowulf guy. I'm retelling Beowulf actually right now for
Yeah,
Lent.
I saw that.
I'm telling it to my children and publishing it. So
Also
check that out
link
on
in the
Substack.
show note to your Substack.
But this is from the discarded image for this Sunday, the first Sunday in Lent, and it's the discarded image, and we're always talking about it. So there we go. When she was 8, my daughter went on a school trip to the London Planetarium. As the projection of the stars opened out above her, the voiceover began to tell the story of the universe. The Big Bang, matter flung out into space, forming stars, planets, asteroids. Then came, the universe will come to an end. Oh, nice dovetail with what we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, for those of you who are old enough, remember laser light shows at the planetarium?
Oh, loved it.
Yep.
Pink Floyd laser light shows. In
The
particular.
best. The
Yeah.
best. Yes. Dating ourselves. They really need to do those, though. They were fantastic. Many of us have a version of... Oh, sorry. My daughter missed the in billions or trillions of years time. She was understandably traumatized. Much parental soothing and an attempt to explain scale ensued. She still jokes with a hint of seriousness that this was the most upsetting event of her childhood. Yeah, because you have no cosmology.
Yeah.
Many of us have a version of this problem, as scientific explanations of the universe make our world so small and the universe so large. We aren't the first to think this. The psalmist says, quote, "When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you have established, what are human beings that you are mindful of them, mortals that you care for them?" Psalm 8, verses 3 and 4.
I am insignificant compared to the scale of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. The word established can also be translated as instituted.
Yeah.
In case you want to tie this into the Lord's Supper.
And by the way, the work of his finger, that's the Spirit.
Yes,
The finger of
Spirit
God is
are
the
the
Holy
finger of
Spirit.
God. Fingers of God, yes. So
Yeah.
when the hand appears and writes on the wall of Nebuchadnezzar, that's the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So Douglas Adams, my beloved Douglas Adams, put it
Can't
another
read
way.
him on the show. We read Postman, but reading Douglas Adams that
That-
would be really a stretch.
That, yeah, he's an avowed atheist and a radical materialist. Yes,
Yes, yes.
and yet the best Doctor Who episodes,
I
Douglas
know.
Adams.
I know. That was Fourth Doctor?
Yes, Tom Baker.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, side note, sorry, the BBC shockingly put up what is one of the two most beloved series of Doctor Who from that period, because it involves a British actor playing a Chinese villain.
And they pulled him.
Well, of course they did, because it's so racist. And they put it back up. It's on YouTube for free. You can watch it. It's fantastic. The writing is amazing, and there is one of the spookiest puppets you will ever see in your life.
You gotta love the puppets.
But no, it's so good. And yeah, Adams was the script. Well, he wrote some scripts, but he also oversaw scripts then. Also, he was the script supervisor. That's the word I was looking for during that time. And so he had his fingers in all of that.
Yeah.
But anyways, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Space is big, he writes. You just won't believe how vastly, hugely, mind-bogglingly big it is. I mean, you may think it's a long way down the road to the chemists, but that's just peanuts to space. If you ever have these moments of mind-boggling terror, C.S. Lewis's The Discarded Image might help. The book is based on a series of lectures he gave as a background for students studying medieval literature. He explains the era's scientific model of the universe so that allusions in the writing of the period are accessible to us with our very different ideas of time and space. He contrasts our modern perspective, which is like looking out over a sea that fades away into a mist, or looking about one in a trackless forest, to the medieval model with its planetary spheres. Quote, to look up at the towering medieval universe is much more like looking at a great building. The medieval person is like a man being conducted through an immense cathedral, not like one lost in a shoreless sea. As I've said, when you look at medieval pictures of the earth, it's always positioned at the quote-unquote center of the picture. And moderns dumbly, because we've rejected the cosmology of the Middle Ages, think, they were so stupid. They thought that the earth was the center of the universe.
And that the earth was up on pillars and
Yeah.
the foundations of the earth
They didn't
were
actually
literal
believe that.
pillars.
Some did. No, it's a funnel that you're looking at from the top. You're actually looking down on the earth from heaven, and the earth is at the bottom of the funnel because it has fallen because of the sin of the man and the woman. And so the reconciliation of not only man to God, but also heaven and earth, is that everything will be brought back, wait for it, into a flat circle. And so earthly time, horizontal time, and vertical time, heavenly time will be made one in the resurrection, because in the beginning, that's what it was.
Time and eternity. Yeah.
Yeah. We even say it in our prayers.
Right.
Yeah.
But also the idea that we've talked about this, with creation being well ordered, which, we try to create an artificial version of that rather than, God's understanding of order. But to think of the creation as being a cathedral, that's, for worship.
That's why cathedrals are cathedrals. That's why they're built the way they are.
With the height and scale.
And also before they were cathedrals, this is why caves and churches the roofs were painted as
stars and planets. Yeah.
And then sometimes the 6 days of creation were painted on the walls.
Yeah. Because is it the same? No, but it's an icon, right? It's
right.
You're trying to confess. I was talking about this with bodily, language.
Yeah.
Because your body communicates. We were talking about that before.
Right.
But people are easily offended by physical posture, and it's very interesting. It's like, do you not think about how you hold yourself as being a way of communicating?
Right.
Like, I'm sitting here casually because I'm
Right.
talking to you casually.
Yeah.
But when I speak formally, I'm going to stand formally.
Right. No, 100%. Like I've said, to your point, now that I sit in the pulpit rather than stand in the pulpit, my whole demeanor changes. The way I speak.
Well, even the way you're received is going to change too.
100%. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
How do they even see you? Are you sitting on a stool?
I'm 6'2", and yeah, I'm sitting on a stool.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I sit on a chair.
I like
so
the
just
idea
the
of
top
having
of my
a,
head is visible. No, I sit on a stool. Yeah. And so, going back
But
to
I mean, there
Gawain.
is a thing. Pull up a chair, right? I mean, that a thing. And
Well,
tell me a story.
again, the bard, the skald, the scope, they're all invited in, and they're literally offered a chair. Sit down by the fire and tell us a story. Earn your food, earn your
Right.
drink.
Well, and I mean, this is rabbinical too, right?
Yeah.
The one who
Well,
sits
it
down
goes
is the
back
one
to the
who's
bar,
teaching.
like I said too. You're sitting on a bench in the gate,
Yeah.
right? Well, what are you doing? I'm deliberating. Well, how long is this going to take? Well, I got to sit down. That's how long. Also, you're now seated. The word amen in Hebrew, the imagery of amen is to be seated between two pillars that support the house. It's literally a threshold statement. Amen.
No, it just means yes, it shall be so.
Yeah, of course. So in the Hebrew imagery, then, you're standing in the door frame between the two doorposts. Well, that supports the whole house. So you are in the threshold, though, between the outside and the inside. You're between heaven and earth as the judge. And of course, in Hebrew, the judges are also referred to as gods. That's what he means in the Psalms when he says, I've called you gods.
Right.
Why? Because you have power over life and death, which only God has.
Yeah, and maybe I mean, I talked about this with the Exodus, is that we flatten things out and say, well,
Yeah.
there's only one true God. Well, this is, yes. But we even confess in our creed, God of gods and Lord of
Lord of
lords.
Lords, exactly.
How
Right.
can you say such a thing
Yeah.
if there aren't other gods? I mean, and what do you mean by a god?
Yeah, right. Whatever you feel, love, and trust. Yeah.
Right? That's the catechism definition. This is hard for people because
Yeah.
you're like, well, for example, Pharaoh's magicians, by
Yeah.
their secret arts, do
Right.
the signs of death. They can
Right.
do those deathly things, the serpentine things.
To simplify it, your God is whatever you look to in times of need. So whatever you look to in a time of need. So going back to my point about healing, this brings in the second commandment actually about witchcraft and spell casting. So I
names,
go to someone who spells out words that give me hope. I was watching a show last night, and this pharmaceutical rep is basically captured, and he's basically forced to reveal the secrets of the pharmaceutical industry. And they're like, "What do you sell?" He's like, "I sell." No, they're like, "No, what do you sell?" And finally, he's like, "Oh, I sell hope." Well, how do you sell hope? Well, I tell people that the cancer drugs that the doctor prescribes to them, because we control the advertising and we control the doctors what they sell, and then we pay for the trials. We actually pay for cancer support groups. We actually underwrite the support groups. We actually pay people to show up and actually testify that this drug worked. So it's this circle, right? The doctor prescribes it. They prescribe our medicine. We give the patient the medicine. The patient comes back to the doctor. The doctor prescribes it, and then insurance is in the middle of it. So that means then that you're taking a drug that is the same as the previous drug. We just branded it and remarketed it, but it's the same properties. Or it's a drug that worked on like young people that doesn't work on anybody else. But we're going to sell it to you because it's what we have, and we need to make 30 to 40% profit year upon year. So we sell hope. So even though this is going to kill you and it's going to extend your life at most 10 to 12 months, we're selling you hope. We're not selling you a cure. That's spell casting. That's literally spell casting. That's pharmakeia. That's witchcraft.
Yeah.
So now your God is whatever.
But
you
because
look
it's
toward.
still you're still terminal,
Yes, right. And that we're
and the
lying
terminus
to
is
you.
not a hopeful terminus. It's
No,
still death.
you're still going to die.
Yeah.
There's no cure for your cancer, but we're going to squeeze another year out of your life. Now you want your loved one to live so much, and you're so desperate that when we tell you this, you're going to believe it because you have no choice.
Well, you want to live for your loved ones too.
Correct.
Yeah.
So and as he pointed out, this drug is $1,400 more than the previous drug. So that's our profit. It's $1,400 over and above what it cost us.
Monthly,
It cost
yeah.
us a nickel to manufacture the pill. So now you're paying $1,400 and you get an extra 12 months of life, which is an extra $1,400 for us. Now, of course, again, that's disgusting. And we know those people are never going to go to jail. However, even if you know it's disgusting, you're going to tilt your head up and you're going to make yourself into a cup and you're going to receive this blood, this sacrifice,
Because that's what you do.
because you need hope. And so that is literally spellcraft. This is what commercials are. Every commercial is witchcraft. It is all spell casting. That's what it is. It's spelling words out to say, hey, when you need help, come to me. Don't go to Jesus. Jesus can't help you. You're going to die of cancer, and Jesus is going to be like, I'll see you in heaven. Well, who wants to live forever when you could live another 12 months? Well, wait a minute.
Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah,
Right?
but
And again, the
It's not a
gospel
calculus.
breaks spells. The
Right.
gospel preached breaks spells. If it's not breaking spells, I have a 13-year-old right now, and we're going through this with him he literally believes what I say in my sermons is true. It's crazy. I'm not used to it. So he's saying, I don't need to take medicine if I'm getting sick. I'm just going to pray and ask Jesus to heal me because Dad said, Jesus comes and says, hey, heal my blindness, heal my leprosy, heal my sickness. So I'll just heal. The problem is he prayed and he got better. So, right? It's like my daughter said, I'm not going to pray because when I pray, I don't get a sister. So she stopped praying and she got a sister. It's like your children actually believe what you say is true because it's God's word.
Mm-hmm.
And then adults come along and go, well, no, honey, you don't understand. What your father's saying is he heals your soul, not your body. But the reading says that he healed the man's blindness.
Right.
That he healed the cripple. He healed the leper. So you're saying that this isn't true? Well, no, reasons, rational explanations, right? Versus, listen, I get it. You prayed for healing and it didn't happen physically. But what I have to teach my son is Paul prays for healing and then concludes, oh, the thorn that I have, you gave
My
this to
grace is
me
sufficient for
so that
Yeah.
it's not, hey, believe in Jesus because your body will be healed. That is a consequence. It is a bonus. But pray for grace
Mm-hmm.
that you might believe that the current suffering is nothing compared to the glory waiting for you.
Right.
Again, he was healed not to reveal that I can heal. His healing was revealed so that God the Father's glory might be revealed. If you think this is impressive, wait till the last day. Which is more impressive, that he can see and he's going to die, or that he's going to be raised from the dead?
But I mean, it's not. I mean, it's really just a different kind of hope then.
Of course.
I mean, what we call hope isn't
Mhm.
hope. It's just a wish.
Right. This is why I'm against ashes on Ash Wednesday.
We're back to-
It just is. I'm sorry. It just is, piety-wise.
Comes
As a
back.
pastor, I have to remind you that he doesn't wipe dirt in the man's eyes and go, you're dirt. You're going to go back to dirt. He spits in his
Well,
hands.
there is the one where he puts the clay in the man's eyes,
That's fair. He does put clay in his eyes, which is also wet.
and then
clay.
wash in the pool of Siloam. Yeah.
But that's mud. That's Genesis 1, not Genesis 3.
Yeah. There's a difference between dust and ashes.
There's a big difference between mud and ash.
Mm.
Mud is what we're made from, and then it
But you
breathes into
missed
our
that they're the
nostrils.
Palm Sunday palm fronds.
That's fair. The phoenix bird. Yeah. That's a whole other thing. But again, nobody preaches the phoenix on Ash Wednesday. They just preach ashes. And then they
It
read
better be.
Genesis 3.
Yeah. Do they?
It just pisses me off.
Genesis 3 is on
Just-
Sunday.
It's my own personal piety, so this is my opinion. It just pisses me off, though, that you're not preaching life for one day because it's tradition. Listen, there are people that you're not going to see on Sunday after Ash Wednesday. They're going to
Yeah.
die. And
Well,
there
how
are
could you
people
not
that-
preach life? I mean, that's what we always preach, isn't it?
Well, if you're preaching the gospel,
Yeah.
you don't take a day off from the gospel. You never take a day off.
So you
from
can mock the
gospel.
ashes. I mean, I think that's fair.
Well, that's what Martin Chemnitz does. That's what Martin
Mhm.
Luther does.
Mm-hmm.
They mock it.
Yeah.
Because we're not preaching death, we're preaching life.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's new wine. The font is new wine. The cup is new wine. So yeah, if you want to preach ashes, fine, but put water in the font so they can wash it off on their way back to their pew.
No,
or at the
don't
very
do
least,
that.
have the
That's
sacraments.
lie. You can't mix water and ashes. Don't do this.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
They'll
Are you a
burn
real-
the cross
Are
onto
you
their
a real
forehead.
Christian or not, Chris? Okay, real Christians would welcome a branding.
Give
on
them a
their head
white
for the rest
garment or
of their
something to
life.
wipe it off.
I don't wear a crucifix around my neck because I branded it onto my forehead
On Ash Wednesday.
on Ash Wednesday when I was 8 because my dad's a dummy. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's great.
So, anyways, no,
Okay.
it everything again. I keep using this term reductive materialism. Right?
Mhm.
Go listen to Mary Harrington, listen to Pajot, listen to Shaw, listen to Geit, listen to others who recognize. Listen, Freya India is another one. Freya. She's a young woman. She's brilliant. Same thing. Like Mary and Freya are great because they're attacking feminism, specifically
right.
modern feminism. Like, no, it's good to be a feminist, but be a biblical feminist. Like, be a faithful feminist to the scriptures. Don't be a modern feminist because it's been completely hijacked. It's in complete chaos because it was built on sand. And you can still be a proud woman and be feminine and be a mother and work and serve and even be a servant to your husband and submit to your husband and not be a part of the quote unquote, misogynistic patriarchy, propagandic nonsense that's been peddled. So
I mean, some of that's just word games then.
yeah, of course it is semantic
Yeah.
games.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's Derrida, man. That's semantic word games. That's Foucault.
And it's fatiguing.
That's the point. They just beat you down until you're just so exhausted. You're like, fine, whatever. Take the job. I don't care.
You can take the word, turn it into what
Going
you
back
want
to
it
your
be.
Disney reference.
Yeah.
And so what happens is you have these houses, you have churches built on sand because even your Christian faith is reductive and it's been reduced to just this materialistic, the universe is dead. But like I was pointing out, even if you accept, like the astrophysicists that I like, they said, well, with the Big Bang, the universe exploded out, but now it's retracting. It's coming back. Well, that's literally everything. Everything goes out and returns. Like breath, stories, the gospel, creation, Jesus, redemption. Everything is going out and coming back. That's the point. Like that's the foundation of reality, because that's what the word does. The word goes out and he does not return empty-handed, versus that modern disgusting translation of that. It goes out and doesn't return void. Ugh.
Unless you want to talk about void.
So
Peugeot has a nice
sterile.
episode on
He
void.
does now, brand new. Yeah, on the void. But it's the abyss, right?
Yeah.
It's the Leviathan. It's the abyss at the end of Job. It's the turgid waters that he makes meaning out of, and so on.
Yeah, I mean, it's not empty in the sense of...
Yeah, again, go read Matteo Paggiot's book on Genesis. It's great. Where he breaks down patterns. He breaks down this understanding. It's called The Language of Creation, Cosmic Symbolism in Genesis. It's right here in front of me. This is my third copy because I keep giving it away. Because people are like, I don't understand what you're talking about. I'm like, here, there's diagrams. Look at the diagrams.
It is true. He has pictures.
Yes, it's great. For those of us who have monkey brains, it's great. But no, it's recognizing, for example, I'm drinking out of my very seasoned and worn in cup, my Lord of the Rings cup, right? And what tree is that? Well, it depends. As a Christian, you know there's a crown on top of that tree. So this isn't just, right, something that Denethor was protecting. This is the tree of life. And the king, of course, is the one true king. And Aragorn is downstream from that because he's Beowulf. And so what happens, though, is that, and then I have coffee inside this cup, and I have ice cubes, and I have a little bit of half and half for a little bit of fat. This is downstream, obviously, from the chalice, from the Grail. I see that symbolically. And
It's next to heaven. It's pretty close.
well, and it's all beaten up, though. And so the tree, the mithril tree here, is all beaten up because I'm still in this world. I'm still in this side of the resurrection.
Or it's because you put it in the dishwasher.
I did not, but my son, my beloved 15-year-old, is a great washer of hand washing things because we pay him because no one else will do it. He's a good capitalist. He's like, you pay me, I'll do it.
I've offered this and it just hasn't resonated with
my
people.
oldest won't clean it. So when my one cat doesn't get taken on a walk fast enough, he poops next to the drain in the basement. And so my 13-year-old's supposed to clean it up. Or my 23-year-old's supposed to clean it up. So he just pays my 13-year-old $5 to do it. I'm like, dude, take it. Take the money and run. Just scoop, throw. Little bit of wash, clean. I'm like, $5? Yeah. Encourage the cat to poop next to the drain. You're making a fortune off of this. And, my 23-year-old's got his own business. So he's like, I'll pay. I'm like, yes, economy. Free market.
Straight up capitalist free
100%,
market.
baby. So if you want to know a true free market economy, come to my house where the children pay each other to do chores.
How many times have we referred to symbolic world?
I don't know. But to me, again, even the beauty of Paggiot is he is an apologist. And kind of like a baron, Bishop Barron for the Roman Catholic.
Hey, it's funny. When I click on the link
Yeah.
to get the video
Yeah.
that we're talking about, guess whose ad comes up? Word on Fire.
Oh, okay.
Robert Barron.
Okay, there you go. So for me, Robert Barron is I would call it a soft Roman Catholic apologist. He doesn't push Roman Catholic dogma, but yet he's firmly Roman Catholic.
Oh, yeah.
Paggiot is firmly Eastern Orthodox. He's a convert to Eastern Orthodoxy, but he's a soft apologist for Eastern Orthodoxy. He doesn't, whereas like Shaw will talk about the liturgy and the Orthodox liturgy and the priest, his priest and so forth. He's much more the mystery of Orthodoxy and what attracted him to the liturgy and Orthodoxy. And he'll meditate on the liturgy a lot. Whereas Paggiot is more along the borders of Orthodoxy. And even Richard Rowland, who's a deacon, he's much more referential because he does another podcast with Damick, and who's a priest. And they do great literature, actually. So if you want to get into great literature, that's another wonderful podcast because they're looking at literature from the universal history perspective, pre-modern history.
Right.
And so that's a great place to start too for your mom. I think it's called the Great Books Podcast, isn't it? Or Great Tales or something? Great Tales Podcast.
I don't know if we've ever linked to it.
It's Richard Rowland, Rohlan. He does Tolkien on universal history, by the way. Great primer for what we're talking about today. Great episode. That's like 2 hours or an hour, or just an hour, I think. So it's a great introduction to Tolkien and Tolkien's understanding of the Middle Ages. Rowland explains the difference between Lewis and Tolkien on how they understand the Middle Ages. So for me, anyways, Tolkien led me backwards, and then going backwards led me to these other people that I've studied with now, or I get to study with. In fact, the Symbolic World has a class that's just finishing up on cosmology.
Is it Art Imitating Heaven? Or is that the new one?
That's the one, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a link to it in the YouTube video that'll be in the show
And
notes.
like I said, I did an outline of Maximus the Confessor's Cosmic Liturgy. Even though there's things that I, as a Lutheran, just disagree with outright, like
Sure.
no, this is wrong. This is just Neoplatonic. The fundamental premise of what he's saying, I agree with completely, because he's like, the Eucharist is the center of the universe. It's the center of our faith. It's everything, right?
Right.
Everything's ordered around the Eucharist, around the chalice. Great. So like I was going to say too, like with Gawain and the Green Knight, the Green Chapel is the middle. Sorry, I was watching a German show last night. Middle of the forest. And then the well that he encounters, though, is somehow at the middle of the forest too, but they're not in the same place, but they are the same place, because the forest is the garden. He's lost inside the garden and doesn't know it till he gets to the Green Chapel and encounters the Green Knight. And like I said, the Green Man in these old legends, I think, is the hidden Christ. I'm convinced he is, and that the Green Knight is Christ, because he is circumcised. That's what takes place. And there's the whole red sash that's tied around. And anyways, it's all there. And it takes place on the Feast of the Circumcision. It's a little on the nose. So the Garden of Eden is portrayed by the medievals. And of course, especially obviously the European medievals, because being Germanic, they're surrounded by woods. But of course, also the British and the Scandinavians. The forest is the garden. And yet, because we're fallen, we can be right in the middle of the garden and not see it. Irenaeus on the Incarnation says where Jesus dies is the spot in the garden of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life.
Yeah.
Because,
I mean,
again,
it's David's threshing floor. It's where he sets up the altar.
Right, exactly. So for them, there's no accidents, right? For us, everything's an accident. Everything's individuated. Everything's an accident. Versus when they did history, they're saying, no. Not only is everything related and overlapping, but vertically everything's related too. So it's not just everything on earth happens as a pattern and everything repeats itself. It repeats itself because everything is happening according to the Logos, according to what cosmically is happening with Jesus. So it's not just flat, it's also vertical. It's horizontal and vertical. As my friend Swirla said, I think we call that heavenly wisdom. Yes, we call it heavenly wisdom. That's the Logos. So then when you're reading something like, well, we went to the planetarium and the Earth is billions of years old and the sun's going to go supernova in 4.2 billion years and your kids freak out. That's a flat, time-bound telling. It's a really bad story. It is a story, but it's really a spell. And the reason that you're afraid is because you've been trapped by a spell. That's the point. And to get you free of the spell, I've got to tell you a better story.
So the spells, they narrow your vision.
100%. Every spell and every story does one thing. It narrows you down to one point.
Right.
Look at the temptations of Jesus.
Right.
Turn this. Look at that bread. It looks just. Or look at that stone. Doesn't it look like a bread loaf?
I mean, so the temptation is to think just utterly simply about it.
Right.
You're hungry. There's a stone. Make it bread.
Yeah. Prove your worth. Exactly. Prove you're the Son of God. Do it. Yeah.
Well, do it because you can.
Because when you're in need, going back to what I said, the God that provides for your needs is just right down there on the corner. If you're hungry, go get a loaf of bread. And this is what's so great about the United States. If you're hungry and can't afford bread, bread will be provided for you through charities. We have the food distribution out of our church.
Yeah.
If you can't afford bread, we will give you bread.
Yeah, and there's something lamentable about that, I think.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's not understood as charitable.
Right.
I mean, it is still charitable. I mean, it was donated by somebody
Right.
at some point along the line.
Actually, our food distribution is the food they couldn't sell.
That's
So
what I
they
mean.
threw it away.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a video that got released and has gone viral about in California, the charities are throwing away food before they even give it out. Because it turns out, of course, they're being used to money launder by the state. But there's whole dumpsters full of food that's just being, like, it goes from the truck into the building and out the back door into the dumpsters. This is fresh food. They're just throwing it away. And like I said to my wife, even if I work there, morally, I'm going to come back and get all that food out of that dumpster at some point. Like, I can't, like, there's no way, if you're a human being and you care and you're working for a charity, so obviously you do, you're going to throw that food away and go like, yeah, I have no problem with that. Like, there's just no way. That's so evil.
Yeah. To take a gift and to discard it.
Yeah, like, okay, we can't sell this, but poor people will take it. It's day old or 3 days old. And this was fresh produce. So you're throwing away fresh produce. You're throwing away, like, cans of food and boxes of food that's non-perishable.
And like you were saying with the garden, I mean, it literally the fruit of the ground.
You're literally lost in the garden because that's the fruit of the garden. Because, like, again, my teacher says, everything beautiful points you to Eden. Everything that you encounter that's beautiful is pointing to the resurrection in Eden.
This is also our argument for Whole Foods.
100%.
Not
It
that
is.
retail's
But I'm saying
trained, but
downstream from the altar of my church is bread for your belly. We receive the bread of Christ, so now we're going to give you bread for your table.
mm-hmm.
We do the one because the other is received as gift. Take away the one, and now all of a sudden, why are we doing this? Well, because look, God wants us to do this.
Yeah.
It's like, but then again, I can't remember who I was reading. It might have been Bulakov, who said the temptations of the devil aren't metaphysical; they're moral. That's the temptation, is to be moral. If you are, then do this because it's good.
Yeah.
Versus, no, do this because you can. Prove your worth. It's like, I don't have to prove my worth. I'm the Son of God. You even admit it. You acknowledged I'm the Son of God.
Right, but not that kind.
So
Right.
you reduce it to that point of, if you're the Son of God, why do I have to go to Cub Foods to get food? Why can't you just make it up here in my refrigerator?
Right, like you're saying with your son with healing.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Mm.
But again, don't tempt the Lord your God. Well, why are you sick in the first place? And can your sickness be a ministry for Christ? Because as he says in Matthew, I was in prison, I was naked, I was sick, I was thirsty, I was hungry. Not you brought me to them, I was there.
Well, and also, like, who sinned, this man or his parents?
Right.
It's like, no, that the glory of God would be revealed
Right.
in him.
And so the point of Gawain, one of the points actually, again, there's no such thing as only one truth meaning.
You've
But
made
one
that
of-
assertion.
One
yes.
of the point is, if the center of the garden is the well, the font, if the center of the garden is the green chapel and the green man is Christ, and he's like, go ahead, chop my head off. Go ahead. Like, I'll just put my head back on. You can't kill me. Then the forest that you're lost in, you were home the whole time. But because you didn't know the question, because you hadn't been humbled and you didn't know what wisdom was, you're searching for something by an act of will that can only be given by grace. So even when Gawain is at the well and the girl is there and everything, all this other stuff, he's still not there yet. He still doesn't get it. He's still got to go to the castle and deal with that, and then go to the Green Chapel after the castle. And it's all hidden, revealed. Everything is hidden and revealed in all these stories. What was hidden is eventually revealed, but only after you've wandered in the wilderness, you've been pilgrimaged, and you've been humbled, and you've lost hope in yourself. And then you're taught the question. And so you can give people bread and fill their stomach, but if they will never discover the question until God leads them to, hey, dummy, the woman is the virgin, and the well is salvation, and the chapel is the heavenly throne room.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, how could I be here and not see that? Because it wasn't revealed to you yet by grace.
Yeah. And for you and I, this is many decades.
Oh, yeah,
of revelation.
I'm not even there yet. I'm just being.
No,
told
I
this
know.
stuff.
I know.
I'm
And
like a child.
And people say, well, why wasn't I ever taught that? Well, because it wasn't revealed to me. I can't reveal it to you until it's revealed to me.
I'm spoilers. I just spent yesterday writing out the episode list for my new podcast that's coming out after Easter. I hope. I'm not going to reveal it too much, but I got a new podcast coming out. It's nothing what you expect it to be. And I'm going through this, and of course, the first episode is on basically something that I discovered when I was 4 years old, and it's still my favorite. After all these years, it's still my favorite. 50 years later, I can see every page of the book. I can quote it from.
I know what
memory.
you're talking about.
Of course
Yes.
you do, because I bring it up all the time.
Yeah.
It is formative not only for my youth; it's formative for my whole life.
So in other words, my mother should just wait a little bit, and then there'll be a podcast for her.
There will be a
maybe.
podcast for your mother coming up very soon. Yes.
Okay.
I'm just, again, I don't.
Spoilers.
I'm not going to start it until the Lord wants me to.
Yeah, that's right.
And apparently that's what's happening, because I had a blizzard, which gave me a lot of time to sit at home on Wednesday and Thursday and plot out stuff. So the point, though, is you and I, because your mom was a librarian, so you had this too. When we were children, God gave us everything we needed for faith in life. But we were children, and we had mentors, and you had preachers. I didn't. But as I got older, I had mentors and preachers. And at the right time, Kairos stuff, at the appointed time, God said, okay, pull the steamer trunk out of the back of your closet, open it up. Hey, remember this? Oh, yeah, that's right. This. Oh, you remember that? Oh, yeah, that. Remember her? Oh, yeah, I remember her. How about him?
Right.
Oh,
right.
him. Okay. All that stuff comes out. But again,
And their instrumentality, is
Yeah.
revealed later. That
correct.
You
Right.
find out the role that
Right.
they were serving.
Some are just there all the time,
Mm-hmm.
like where the wild things are. Others come later and they present themselves to you, and you say, oh, really? I didn't
Right.
know. Well, of course
Right.
you didn't. You weren't ready.
No.
I didn't want you to.
Well, that's the power of art in particular,
Mm-hmm.
which we both appreciate,
Yeah.
whether it's musical or visual or whatnot. But,
Yeah.
is that it doesn't have that that fixed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not an Aesop fable. So it can grow, and even the artists themselves don't necessarily understand what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they have intentionality generally, but you know, it's, what was the character? Oh, I was thinking about film, and we started talking about David Lynch.
Yeah.
But Bob in Twin Peaks, if I remember right,
Yeah.
it's actually the cameraman, and he ended up on camera accidentally,
Right.
and then they just wrote him in as a character.
Right. Oh yeah.
Because he's supposed to be there then.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what? He was like his reflection was in the glass or something.
Right.
And so there's this like, well, he's there, so now he's in the story. Like, so not everybody treats art that way, where it just kind of just goes where it needs to go.
Well, I've told the story before. The first time that I went to the Minneapolis Institute of Art, we're walking around, and I come around a corner, and there's this statue. It's a bust, so it's from the chest up, and the name of it is the Veiled Vestal Virgin. It's 13 inches tall, and it's a sculpture of a woman, but the sculpture has a veil covering her. And I sat down and I started to cry just from seeing it. I literally fell in love with the sculpture. This had never happened to me before in my entire life. I'm 21 years old, I think, 21 years old. And I sit down and I just start crying. And I can't stop staring at it. And my friends left. They went around the entire museum. I sat there for like 20 minutes or more just staring at this woman, the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. And then every time I would go back in subsequent years, I knew where she was at. And it was like we were going to my grandma's house for Christmas. I was so giddy. I would just go up the stairs, hang a right, go up the stairs, hang a left, and just go right to her and say, you guys leave me. I need to be with her for a while. And I would just sit there for 20 minutes and just stare at her. And my thoughts would wander. But that's what I mean by when you encounter like real beauty, it points to something higher and greater than yourself.
Right.
And so whenever anybody brings up, just says the word art, that is the first thing that my mind goes to is the Vestal Virgin. And there's something about that for me that was given to say, this is that feeling you have, your heart being attached to a piece of stone. Like, this is heaven. Like, how can this be heaven? Well, it's the same thing that I loved my son before he was born, but I never met him. And it took me a lot. Like, I didn't understand that the entirety of my wife's first pregnancy of how can you love someone that you've never met and developed a relationship with? And yet, as soon as she told me she was pregnant, something shifted radically inside of me. Like the whole world tilted. And then when you hear the heartbeat and you see the ultrasound, and then the belly starts to grow, and she's swelling with this child, but somehow your heart is swelling up with love. And even before he was born, my first thought was, I will die for this child. But that goes against all logic and reason of how I was taught relationships happen and how.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely metaphysical. There's a change of you.
It's that mystery of how can you fall in love with a statue from like the 13th century or 14th century? How can you fall in love with someone you've never met? How can words shatter you and then rebuild you? There's something happening that's much bigger than just, chemicals or pheromones or your brain, the synapses are firing. It's none of that. Something wild is happening, and you have no control over it.
Right.
And sadly, we try to push all that away because it makes us uncomfortable, rather than run towards that and say, "Hey, well, this the other thing too is because my wife has asked, do you want a picture or do you want a recreation of that statue?" No, God, no. No. She has to exist over there. She has to be over there. Locatedness again.
Yeah, exactly.
She has to be in that museum. She has to be there. If she was in my house or even at church, I would stop staring at her and she would just become a part of the background.
Yeah, the copy becomes the almost.
The facsimile, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it takes the magic. It takes the magic away.
100%.
Yeah.
And yet every Sunday when you come into the church and you turn the corner into my nave, there's the chalice. There's Jesus.
But that's where it belongs.
There's the font because that's where it belongs. That's the locatedness of God.
Right.
And therefore it's your locatedness. So ultimately what I pray for is that every single person that comes to my church says, that's my home church. That's my home church. I can't leave that. That's my home
I have
church.
that, And,
yeah.
And even though they've redecorated and whatnot, it's still like, especially because you were a child there.
Yeah.
If you were a child there, right? So it's like, or maybe like a child there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if that's your green chapel, and then you go out into the world, some people's churches are literally in the forest and others are not. Some are in the city, but the city itself is a jungle. We call it the concrete jungle. It is a forest of it. It's a forest manufactured by men, but it's still a forest. And so again, what you're doing is not just looking at the physical edifice. You're not just looking at the material principle of the thing. You're asking metaphorically, what does this symbolize? Like I said, step back and tell it in the third person. Read the Bible and then step back and tell that in the third person. Are you the prodigal? Well, then tell your story as the story of the prodigal, or the person that you're talking with and they confess to you and they just can't seem to put it together and they're struggling. You say, hey man, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Peter after he denied Jesus 3 times, right? Or it reminds me of Cain and Abel or whatever, right? Tell them that's you, like, and let the story have its way with them, because this is the word of God. Let the word of God have its way with them, his way, because you don't know what God wants to teach them through this. So just tell it, preach it, be the messenger. And because the messenger isn't sent to explain the meaning of the message.
No.
Just to announce it. Hear ye, the king is declared. Okay, I got to go now.
Yeah, and I've said this about preaching, I think, because it's more experiential, maybe not philosophical, but I literally have no control of how the word preached is received.
Right.
And I think it's true for the stories too.
Of course.
So you just
the good ones.
And well, I had one professor point this out seminary, and he told me, I really appreciate how you read the scriptures, because I would read in chapel, right? Volunteer to do that. Yeah. And I'm like, what does he mean? He's like, everybody tries to inflect meaning into it.
Yeah.
And you just read it.
Right.
I'm like, well, no, I'm inflecting meaning in it too. I think what
you don't,
but
you don't
especially
have an Oxford accent, or.
But especially now as a pastor, right? It's like, well, sometimes I do read it with intentionality. There's an emphasis that's made. There's a pause and every time it's different, right?
Yeah.
Because the moment is different, but at the same time, I appreciate what he meant. He's like, you just let the scripture just be received. You don't have to like make it overly dramatic or something like that.
Right.
In other words, he was just saying I was boring, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But in his mind, that was okay, because too many people were trying to be, I guess, performative or something, or dramatic or something like that.
Well, especially at seminary, you're trying to impress people.
Oh yeah,
You're wearing a mask. Again, you're riding someone else's horse. Usually, you're the professor you like most. You're trying to imitate.
Huh.
Yeah. So back to it. So Lewis loves this model of the universe. That is the universe as cathedral.
Yeah.
And like I said, look down, not up. And you'll locate the earth not at the center of the universe, but rather at the bottom of the funnel. You're seeing it from the angel's perspective. So Lewis loves this model of the universe. He calls it a supreme medieval work of art, the central work, to which they constantly referred, from which they drew a great deal of their strength. By contrast, he thinks we are cowed by our modern conception of what's quote unquote out there. What's out there? Well, maybe aliens. Trump's going to declassify all the alien stuff.
Don't look over here. Look over there.
Exactly. That's right. Yes.
Never mind Iran. Let's talk about aliens again.
That's right. How does this discarded medieval model, and this, the title of the book, Discarded Image, how does this discarded medieval model help a terrified 8 or 84-year-old? Lewis's prescription for our modern problem comes in his epilogue. After the certainties of the 19th century, where science claimed to describe what we could all fact-check, we have entered a period where anything imaginable, even anything that can be manipulated by ordinary, that is, non-mathematical conceptions, far from being a further truth, to which mathematics were the avenue, is a mere analogy, a concession to our weakness, unquote.
I'm trying to figure out what he's saying here.
Let's read it again.
Yeah.
After the certainties of the 19th century, so the 1800s, scientific enlightenment, we have entered a period where anything imaginable, even anything that can be manipulated by ordinary conceptions, that is, non-mathematical stuff, far from being further downstream from the truth, that is what we use mathematics for, to get our distance from the truth by using math. Math is an analogy and therefore a concession of our weakness. We're trying to find the meaning of the thing through numbers, through math.
Yeah.
which is not actually a concession to our power, to our wisdom, to our intelligence. He's saying, no, we're basically saying we're so weak that we have to use math to figure things out.
Well, and it's a reductionism then too.
Yeah, right. Again, reductive materialism.
To material or mechanical or mathematical
exactly.
in this case.
Right.
Right. Whereas
the universe as cathedral,
it's not understandable in those terms.
right? It's a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you're inside the mystery. You're in the cathedral. But what is my place? And how did we build this cathedral? And which pew is mine? And why is that guy there, but I'm over here?
So maybe something like the mechanics of I use the term, but anyway, the way that a human cell operates.
Well, this is the Mason's symbol. That
Oh.
everything is a plumb line and a measure,
Mm-hmm. Right.
right? A plane and a plumb.
Predictable, and
Mhm.
but he's saying that's really just a concession to
Yeah, of course.
our lack of.
Yeah, I mean, this is the
comprehension.
roots of Hermetic and esoteric mystics and mysticism and stuff like that.
That's
is
still a reductionist kind of thing.
hugely, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not really looking up; you're looking across.
Right. Or like we were saying with Mercury in retrograde,
Mhm.
well, let's come up with some kind of narrative to attach
Right.
to that. Even though it is beyond just a pure narrative
Right. It's
construction.
the throne of God. I mean, if you want to get deep, the psalmist calls it the throne.
Mercury?
No, the planets,
the
the
planets,
cosmos is the throne. It carries the throne. Sorry, it carries the
Yeah,
throne. It
yeah,
supports the throne of
yeah.
God. Yeah. Which this is the point. So David says that the cosmos, the planets, the constellations actually, or if you want to get really literal, the zodiac, actually carries the throne of God. But the prophet says the angels carry the throne of God, which is how they get to, angels are planets and planets are angels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And the
really get
stars.
caught up on misnomers.
Mm-hmm.
So we had virtual learning. I'm like, well, then that's not learning, or it's not virtuous. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
it's definitely a
We
misnomer.
don't care about virtue anymore.
But then
just
what?
authenticity.
The buzz topic now. My son's been texting me about this. Is artificial intelligence. And you're like,
Mhm.
well, it's not really intelligence. It's at best it's knowledge, but it's not
Well,
really.
it has proven that it is not very intelligent.
But it's artificial.
Yeah, of course.
So it's created, and
Right.
meaning it's a facsimile of intelligence.
Yes.
And
Right.
like any facsimile, it's a
Mhm.
copy of a copy, right?
Right.
And it ends up being derivative
Right.
and not creative. Well, and as long as you call it what it is
Mhm.
and you understand it, it's like, is that a tool? Is that, what does he call it there? A mere analogy, a concession to our weakness. That's his best. That's really how you describe artificial intelligence. That's just a concession to our weakness. We don't understand what
When we
we've
were
created.
little, many of us wanted for our birthdays or Christmas something called the Easy Bake Oven.
Why?
which was-
I've always wondered because I did too.
which was a toy oven, and it came with cake mix, and you put it in your little pan, and you put the pan in the Easy Bake Oven, and then it came out, and you had cake, right?
with its 25-watt bulb or something,
Yes, and the commercials made it seem like the second coming of the Christ, that you could bake your own cake. You didn't have to wait for mom to do it.
I think it was
And
the best thing since sliced bread.
Yes, and the thing about this is that was more of an oven than artificial intelligence is intelligence. Like the Easy Bake Oven was closer to
Are you doing an analogy to my
the
weakness here?
reality of an
Okay.
oven
Yeah.
than AI is to actual intelligence.
Yeah. I mean, it's Google search. That's fine.
It's just really powerful Google search.
Yeah, because it's personalized.
Yeah, of course. And it
Instead
makes
of
you
the gen-
feel like you matter.
Yeah.
It loves you, and again, like I said, it's just the golden retriever of software. That's
I'm
all
all
it
right.
is.
I'm all right. I've always used software tools. I don't have a problem.
This
But-
is the problem that I have with people freaking out about. I'm like, I get it, you're freaking out. AI art is awful. I agree with you. But a tool is just a tool. The Easy Bake Oven did not replace my grandma's cookies at any point in time. Because as soon as I
Was
ate
it
the cake-
immoral to use the Easy Bake Oven?
No, of course not. Because it was
But it's
given to me
fake.
as a gift. It
Yeah.
wasn't fake. It was an oven. The cake cooked. It wasn't my
Kind of.
grandma's.
Kind of.
It basically revealed to me the weakness of the oven and the power of my grandma's hands.
Yeah.
That's the point. Like, if anything, chat or Grok or Gemini or whatever reveals to you the limits of us.
Yeah.
Not the program. Don't blame the program for the limitations of the user.
Well, the biggest limit is
or
memory.
I'm sorry, the programmers.
Because we have infinite memory.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems. I mean,
And by the way, the guys that are at the guys that basically made AI what it is today are called the architects
mhm.
of AI. It's very Masonic, actually. But this is why we want to turn God into the architect of the universe, a watchmaker,
Oh, right.
versus
Talked about that last
yeah,
week.
he's not that at all. Read
The other
Iron
interesting
John.
phenomenon is that at least with the early frontier models, those creators have walked.
Yeah, of course. They're yeah.
It's
No, they're-
not necessarily disenfranchisement. It's just their role is eliminated.
well, I think they feel like George Lucas after Kathleen Kennedy took over.
Yeah,
And they're like, hey,
probably.
man. And everyone's like, thank you, but we're not going to listen to you anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute. I'm the guy.
Well, it's
Like,
okay. I
did
mean,
the
you
thing.
can have your thing and then move on. I
Well,
get
you got to
that
be like
too.
Wozniak in his hot tub giving interviews. You got to get to
Do
that
you know
level.
about his $2 bills?
Which one? Wozniak?
Yeah. So
I've
he
read
got.
about it, yeah.
He's talked about it on stage. He got a legitimate license to buy the paper and to print the bills and cut them himself.
Yeah.
So he would just come with a sheet, uncut, and he would just give a
I remember
person a
seeing
sheet.
that, yeah.
And you're like, what?
Wait
you
a
can
minute.
just
You
do
can
that?
do that?
He has
Exactly.
this kind of imagination, right?
Yeah.
It's not counterfeiting. No, I registered for it.
Right.
I submit the numbers to the treasury, and they document it, and it's like, what? You have a money printer?
Easy
Are-
bake
are-
oven. Easy
are-
bake oven.
Yes. I don't know. Maybe it's just a concession to my weakness that I have no idea what like that was even possible.
It's also Steve Wozniak. So the amount of money he paid is probably more than you and
It
I
was
could
always
muster.
as much as people like Jobs, Wozniak was always my guy because he was
Always.
the wild
Oh, yeah.
guy. Yeah.
No,
I
Steve
mean,
was
Jobs
always the
played
uptight
like it,
guy.
but he was the business guy.
Yeah, he was uptight. It was obvious.
Yes.
When anything went wrong on stage, you knew, oh, you're not a fun guy. Like,
Oh, and this is not going to go well for you. Can
Bill
read
Burr
about that
nails it,
in the
yeah.
early history of Pixar.
yeah.
Yeah, and just how
Yeah.
terrifying.
Go watch Bill Burr on Steve Jobs, otherwise known as Nerd Jesus. It's the best. So Nerd Jesus died, I hear. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a misnomer, but in a way that's a concession too. It was like we're going to call it artificial intelligence because we don't really know what this is.
Well, it's branding. It's all branding.
Mm-hmm.
You can't call it the next great software innovation. Who cares? We've had those. We're
Well,
not
you can.
impressed.
You won't get the kind of investors you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, what is this phone made of? It's the same stuff that Samsung's made of. Well, then why would I buy it? It's 4 times more. Let me tell you why you're going to buy the iPhone.
Yeah. Thank you, Simon Sinek again.
Exactly.
Okay.
Same thing. Well, isn't this artificial intelligence just a really intelligent form of Grammarly? It is, but let me tell you why you're going to
Spell
pay
check,
me.
Grammarly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Grammarly. I used that. That was the best. Because
No, I mean it was really Google search.
well, it was
but
like a video game because it would grade your writing and be like, this is like 8th grade and the punctuation's not that good.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was a
I
challenge.
use it to edit transcripts.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, so that they're legible.
Well, I'm just sick of learning different writing styles at this point in my life. Like, can't we just settle in Chicago and leave it at that?
Yeah, right.
So, how does this discarded medieval model help a terrified 8 or 84-year-old? Well, one, it raises their consciousness and says, hey, no, you don't understand. So
There's more going on. Yeah.
physicists struggle to turn what they are investigating with advanced mathematics into words ordinary people can understand. Talking about a string theory, which I was just about to talk about, talking about a string theory which has nothing to do with common or garden string or Schrodinger's dead or alive cat, demonstrating the uncertainty principle in quantum theory, that was the end of the sentence. That was
Yes.
a weird sentence. Physicists struggle to turn what they are investigating with
Talking
advanced
about,
mathematics into normal words that people can understand. That's basically what it is.
Yep.
Knowing these limits, writes Lewis, we should respect each scientific model and idolize none, particularly when we realize that nature gives most of her evidence in answer to the questions we ask her. Ask a law question, get a law answer.
Yeah, right.
That's great. These
Did one species transition to another? Well, here, let me give you some evidence to prove your theory.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's in the water. These questions are like a stencil that determines how much of the total truth will appear and what pattern it will suggest. See, again, this is why this is all from the discarded image. So this is why it is definitely a laborious thing to read, for sure. That's why I say read it backwards.
Yeah, because it's heavily philosophical.
Yeah, and medieval philosophy.
But we've done this.
Yeah.
You mentioned ask a law question. I mean, the questions you ask will
Right.
direct the answers.
Right.
Right. And I always say to students, I say that, there's no stupid questions, just stupid answers.
Right.
I just do that rhetorically. I don't actually believe that, but but it is true. I want them to be conscious, not so conscious about their questions, but their questions do matter.
Yeah. Right.
And the questions, because the questions reveal faith and doubt,
Right.
in particular. With
Talk to an
religious
8-year-old for about 30 minutes.
Oh,
and you
yeah.
will learn how wrong you are about asking your questions. Because the 8-year-old will just keep saying the same thing until you phrase the question in a way that they can understand. So it's
Because
not that,
they're doing it the other way around.
yeah, they're
They have
saying,
the
listen, you
answer
asked a
and they
question, here's your answer. You're like, no, 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 no. What I meant was this. And they're like, nope, same answer. Okay, let me try it again.
Oh, this is Jeopardy then.
Yeah. And then finally you get it right. And they're like, oh, David. You're like, oh, God, that hurt me. I think I had a stroke. But it definitely makes you a better teacher because they will teach you how to
does.
ask the right question.
It does, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Instead of you saying, what are you guys, dumb? You don't listen? It's so obvious. It's like, you're asking the questions.
You already know the answer, though.
Exactly. I know the answer. So, and I'm not 7 or 8, so I'm not thinking like them. So rather than be like, hey, man, how would you ask this question? And then they tell you, and you go, oh, okay, okay, good. From now on, I will ask it that way. Yeah.
I have not perfected this art yet.
Yeah. Again, it's laborious work.
It's a work in progress.
It's just discovering from I only have girls in my confirmation class right now. I have 6 girls from ages 8 to 10.
Oh, wow. That's a strange dynamic.
If you want to know how wrong you are, sit in a room with 8 adolescent girls, and they will let you know vociferously how wrong you are about something.
Sure.
Because they all look at me like, are you the dumbest person in the world? I think you're dumb. It's fantastic to have an 8-year-old judge you and realize, why do I feel wrong?
I subbed for a confirmation class in a Lutheran grade school, and it was 7th and 8th grade, and it was all girls but one boy, and they were all. This was an urban neighborhood in Chicago, so they were all black. And this is not my culture. These are not my people. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And it was the most delightful experience because it was exactly that. It was like you're riding on the edge of disaster all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And they'll call you out.
So that's again, in the absence of rituals, in the absence of the forest path, so you can encounter foxes and hermits and witches, God will give you a whole classroom full of people.
What was remarkable is they just weren't polite.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, because they live in a world where kindness isn't going to get you anywhere.
No, it's true.
Actually, you'll get eaten.
Yeah. So just the intensity level, and it was like, well, okay, I'm gonna have to grow up here.
There's an old cartoon about Bambi getting shot or crushed by Godzilla. There's 2. There's one where Bambi gets stomped on by Godzilla, and there's another one where he gets shot.
Okay.
It's that you can't show Bambi to children who have been living with violence and trauma.
Oh, I see.
On a daily basis. But if you show them Bambi getting stomped by Godzilla, they'll all laugh because that's their life every day. Godzilla lives right across the street or comes into their neighborhood all the time. Third person, tell it as a fairy tale. So knowing these limits, then he says, hey, we respect the scientific model. I love optometry. I think it's a wonderful science, and I hope that it continues to advance because I have bad eyes and so do my children.
Right.
But I don't go to him in my time of need. I go to him as a gift. My optometrist is a gift from God. So exactly, my veterinarian, gift from God, also my former treasurer. So doubling down. But I don't then go and offer worship and prayer to the veterinarian because he, helped my dog.
But we only, as he's saying, Lewis, the limits of our knowledge are based on the questions that we ask.
100%. At the end of the day, if the limits of your knowledge is there is no God, well, then the veterinarian and the optometrist will become your gods.
Well, and I think that, for us, sometimes the fatigue of being a pastor is when people stop asking questions.
Which, by the way, is why in the Midwest, at least, I don't know if it's this way other places, in the Midwest, whenever anybody does something nice for you, you have to give them a gift. Usually food. You're literally caning them. You're bringing a heap. Going, look at the harvest. I wanted to show my thing. Again, this is a good thing. I'm not ragging on it. I'm just pointing out, though.
Well, because it's worshipful. I mean, Thanksgiving is part of worship.
That's what I'm trying to draw out is, though, our entire life is geared and oriented around sacrifice, altars, worship. Everything is either downstream of Christ and all done in faith. So therefore, I'm giving you this food because you gave me something for free, and I want to give you something in return because you were Christ to me.
Right.
Jesus literally ministered to me through you, and I want to return that and minister to you.
In Thanksgiving. Right.
Versus, I have to give this to you because in the future, I'm going to ask you for more.
Yeah.
And so I've got to make sure the scales are balanced. Yeah. That's again, Robert Capon is great on this stuff, especially the mystery of Christ and why we don't get it. If you want to dig into that. So these questions are like a stencil that determines how much of the total truth will appear. That's also important. And what pattern it will suggest. The questions are stencils. They determine the total truth, how much of the truth will appear.
Right.
If you go looking for a Christ rather than the Christ, you will find a Christ.
You'll find many of them. Yeah.
Many Christs, and they all compete for your worship and
Or
sacrifice.
the Christ consciousness.
Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
But as he notes then, to your point, that's the pattern, which is why you keep finding saviors. It's like I have a friend of mine, married a couple times, asked the question, how come I keep marrying these types of people? And I said, well, maybe you should stop looking for these people at a bar and go to a book club.
Yeah.
or
What's the pattern?
church,
Yeah.
anything, right? But the pattern is, this is where I meet these people. Okay, break the pattern, stop doing that. Sure enough, as soon as this person stopped doing that, met a really great person, they got married, and they are super happy together. But had to be led through the wilderness and get lost and recognize, oh, I'm not marrying princes and princesses. I'm not marrying kings or queens. I'm marrying ogres and trolls. I can't be doing this. Like, yeah. But somebody had to come from outside to say, you can't see this because you're in chaos, you're in the abyss.
Yeah.
Just get out of the water.
So sometimes the questions have to be given to you.
100%. Well, I would argue all the time, actually. It's through encounter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, again, this is the premise of the pre-modern world, is that everything comes from outside of you to you, not from inside of you out.
But I mean, like, if you haven't been able to see the stars where there's no light pollution or
Correct.
very little,
Yeah.
you don't ask the same question.
No, of course not. Of course
Because they don't even have the same,
yeah.
they don't even have the same effect
Right.
on you. Right.
If you ask questions about the self, you will never arrive at the soul.
Mm.
So someone has to come from outside of you to draw out the soul question.
I mean, you would ask questions about the role of the sun
mm-hmm.
if you go from the cave to out in the
Yeah, sure.
daylight.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I do this every spring. It's
Right.
like, where has this been all my life?
Right. Right.
It's just it's just been gone for a few months.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's a fact.
Yeah,
you know,
the
and
sun
then you
has
start
to
asking.
encounter you, and the sun has to bring out the question, where have you been my whole life?
Right. Exactly.
And then the question comes. But I don't, because I've used this in terms of, if you grow up in a darkened room and someone comes and turns the light on,
Mm-hmm.
you will react negatively to light.
Oh yeah, you're going to demand it to be
And the
turned
person will say, what's wrong with you? Well, this is awful. I'm in so
It's
much
too
pain.
much. It's
Turn
too
it-
bright.
Make it
Yeah.
go away. Right.
It's too bright.
It's likewise, someone who's abused through their childhood is not going to grow up and go looking for someone who's not abusive, because it's a pattern. They recognize the patterns, and the pattern is, as crazy as it may seem to somebody who's not been abused, I actually want the behavior to repeat itself because it's what I know.
Yeah, it's not a negative or positive judgment necessarily.
No, it's not moral at all.
You're not thinking of it in those terms anyway, because you're
No,
caught up
it's
in
spiritual. Yeah.
it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're not even aware that our traumas started dating before we did, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was my wife and I. Our traumas got married a couple months before we even.
I always try to
decided
remember
to
which
get
movie
married.
it was. Which ones were they? Where they were both addicts or something like that. There's been a few of these.
You know about Destination Wedding or something else?
No, it's the one with Bradley Cooper is the one I'm thinking of.
Silver Linings Playbook?
Yeah, that's it. Thank
Yeah.
you. I've been struggling to remember the name of it. I don't remember if it was any good, but
Jennifer Lawrence, Robert De Niro. I actually really liked it. I watched it twice.
I remember liking it. Yeah.
Because the writing, it's, what's his face? He's a good screenwriter. He writes good
Okay.
dialogue. But,
Yeah, and it was serious, and those,
yeah, I would call it a dramedy, I think is what they call it. It's dramatic, but there's comedy in it.
that's the one I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I've tried to remember this for a long
Silver
time.
Linings Playbook. Yeah, it's a fun Sunday afternoon movie.
Huh.
You know, mental illness can be funny. That's basically what the movie's about.
2012.
Wow.
Writer-director David O. Russell.
That's it, David O. Russell. Yeah.
What else do we know David O. Russell from?
As soon as you start reading them off. you'll
I'm
be out.
looking here. I actually don't know these.
Really?
No.
List them off.
Amsterdam. Don't know it. Joy. Don't know it. Outer Space Astronauts was the TV show. Wake
know
Up
that
Ron Burgundy
Yeah.
was the video. These are all shorts. And then he's producers. Oh, director. Here we go.
There you
Previous director. Past Forward. Joy. Accidental Love. American Hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Came after that. The
Yeah.
Fighter.
The Fighter, yep.
That was the breakout probably.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's 2010.
Great movie.
Yeah. Was it? That was Hilary Swank, right? Wasn't she in that?
Oh.
No,
I was
that's a
thinking-
different movie.
No, Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
$1 Million Baby was Hilary Swank included.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Different movie. Also, don't watch it if you are depressed at all or having
Oh,
a bad
no.
day.
No, wasn't that Eastwood that did
Yeah,
that movie?
he directed it and starred in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a great movie because, obviously, but no, it's so heartbreakingly sad. It takes that turn, and you're like, wait, no, this is not the movie.
Oh, we
I
were
signed
talking
up
about
for.
traumas dating each other. Okay,
Yes, exactly.
fine.
There we go.
We got to it.
Right. Yeah. If you meet someone and they're like, my favorite movie is $1 Million Baby. Well, okay.
Yeah.
It's a very specific niche. So each model reflects the prevalent psychology of an age, almost as much as it reflects the state of that age's knowledge. Yeah, so the questions are generated by the times in which you live, and the times in which you live come with their own questions.
Correct.
And vice versa. So putting it another way, as God is out of the picture in scientific circles, our psychology requires a vast, usually meaningless universe, so that's what we model. So I've been talking about this a lot lately. The brain leans toward abstraction. It leans towards theory and commentary, meaning nothing's real because the brain can't do anything if you set it on a table. So the brain leans into theory. It leans into commentary. The heart leans towards encounter. The soul leans towards blessing, fullness. But it's the heart and the soul leans towards physicality, incarnation, embodiment, encounter. So the brain doesn't. That's why this virtual stuff is so appealing to the brain, because it still exists in a conceptual state. It's still abstracted. It's still theoretical. It's virtual. Versus when the heart yearns for encounter, it will be driven into despair by these virtual relationships.
I mean, there's
these
probably some
encounters.
people that will only participate in this if they can do it live,
Yeah.
because at least then they have the opportunity to
Right.
put something in the chat.
Right.
And there'd be some kind of interactivity.
Yeah, there's a feeling of connectivity. But when I physically
still a
connect to
facsimile,
you,
yeah.
shake your hand, hug you, put my hand on your shoulder, you come up and we talk and we're like 2 feet away from each other. Totally different experience. Totally different.
This is, people really get upset, when they find this out, but like, I cannot stand using the telephone.
Nope.
And they're like, why don't you? It's not because I don't want to talk to you.
It's disembodied. Literally, it's a disembodied voice.
And sometimes it goes on absurdly long.
Yep.
Why? Because there's no, you can't read the other person.
Yeah.
You have no idea whether they're even listening.
Right.
You know?
One of the things my teacher talks about is we have to be really careful at this point. We talked about it last week a lot with Joseph Campbell and Carl Jung. It's to reduce these things to psychological categories, which he's doing right here. And I don't know if he's doing it on purpose, or it's implicit, or he's trying to make a point. But the danger of the modern person is to psychologize, which again drags this into the mind and makes it theory. And now we start asking questions of archetypes and tropes and by patterns.
Well, that's what psychology demands in the
Right.
absence of scriptural
Right.
truth.
Right.
Yeah.
But what this drives at is analogy. It drives us to analogy. It drives us away from mystery. Mystery.
Well, models are analogies.
Right.
Right.
So the way it was put to me is myth tells the mystery without explaining the meaning. An allegory tells the myth and then explains the meaning.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference between an allegory and a
Yeah, I think we talked about that
and
last
a
week.
myth.
Yeah, we tried to
Right.
untangle that. Yeah.
Right. Allegory says this is the mystery, here's the meaning. Myth says here's the mystery, it means whatever it means.
I think some people would defend allegory and say,
And you talked about it though, you brought it up as devil advocate. Well, how does that stop us from going, well, this is what it means to me? And I said, yeah, it's not psychologized. It's not something that takes place inside of you. Something comes from the outside of you and then changes you.
well, sometimes the defense of allegory is like, this is the church's interpretation.
Right.
They'll say, the
Yeah.
fathers agree or something like that. So it kind of makes it
Yeah.
less personal, but also still definitive, right? And then the other way I think people do it is that, with like threefold or fourfold or
Yeah, whatever
fivefold
it is,
exegesis.
multiplicity.
So you have multiple what do we say, frames of reference, right? So whether it's anagogical or it's
Right.
tropological or whatever. And you're like, well, but you're still narrowing it.
Right.
I was like, well, Jesus wouldn't tell us a story if it didn't have purpose. Well,
Right.
that's a different story. That's different than meaning.
Right.
Because when you say meaning, you're thinking that's purely intellectual for most people.
Yeah.
It's not an encounter. It's
Think of it
not
in terms of purpose.
Yeah, so when you say purpose, that is It's more than just simply understanding. It's
The purpose of this is to do this to you. It's going to
right,
do something to you. So
right.
yeah, in the sense of heaven's going to teach you something about earthly life
Sure.
by changing you.
Yeah.
So we think theory and then application. So we talk about theory and application, this, then that. For God to speak is to do. And this is true of all of God's word then. And
Yeah,
then
but I think it's true. We know it's
yeah.
true of other words too, like you
Well,
said with
I was going to say,
spellcasting.
downstream from that then becomes
Yeah.
the great myths and legends, the great folk tales. The reason they're still around is because they're living words that change the hearer. And the hearer then says, well, we can't stop telling this.
Well, and you know how hard it is with someone who's caught up in something to
Yeah.
say, "Have you thought about it this way?"
Oh,
and then
yeah,
you tell a
that's the
different
spell.
story.
Yeah,
And you tell a different story, but
Yeah.
they're firmly holding on to a story that
Right.
not true.
right.
It's a false story. It's
Right.
one that they made up to fill in the gap.
You can do this, by the way. This is a great form of apologetics. Say to a friend, for example, who's struggling, or a family member, even though they're not Christian, maybe they're not even religious, I want you to read the story of Jonah. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Just read Jonah.
It's like 4 chapters. It's not long.
Don't
3
read
chapters.
it as, oh, it's part of the Christian Bible, or, oh, this is, Jewish or Christian. Don't read it that way. Just read it. Read Jonah. That's all you got to do is read Jonah. Just don't even think about it. Just read
Mhm.
it. And then whatever happens, I want you to read it again the next day, and then read it again. I want you to read it every day
Sit with it. Yeah.
for 7 days.
Mhm.
Again, it's like 2 pages in most Bibles. That's it. And just read it, close the book, walk away, and just let it live with you and let it have its way with you. Because I think this is a great story. Of course, I think it's God's word,
Mhm.
but it's a great story. And it's a great story. It's been around for thousands of years. We don't even really know who actually originally told this story.
No.
And you dress it up in the mystery. You just let the mystery have its way with the person and go, listen, I think this story can change the way that you're thinking about this, right? Psychologize it if you want to. Again, what you're basically doing is just smuggling in.
You won't. I mean, you can't help the way that we manipulate the story
Of
for a
course.
purpose.
Yeah, 100%. But I'm
Yeah,
just
on
saying,
purpose.
because I believe it's the living word of God, it's going to
Mhm.
have its way with you.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say, just read it. Ha ha. It's going to do something to you. And maybe 10 years from now, it leads somewhere for you. But right
Spontaneously,
now,
yeah.
you're struggling to find meaning. You read self-help books, you've talked to people, you went to your doctor, you went to this person, that person, and you just can't find any relief. You can't find any help. Read Jonah. Read it. It's simple, right? And then just sit with it. And then we'll talk about it if you want to, and we don't have to if you don't want to. I'll never bring it up again, but just read it, right? And I think or just read a parable. Give them the parable of the prodigal son, which it has there's no mention of God. There's no mention of Jesus. Read the parable of the prodigal son. Read the parable of the vineyard workers, whatever it might be, right? That's the beauty of those parables. He tells them to people who ask him law questions and says, here's the mystery of the kingdom. The kingdom of heaven is like a vineyard owner. Great. Give that to somebody. Or this man owned a vineyard and he hired people at different hours of the day. Go ahead and read that every day for a week. It'll take you like 3 to 5 minutes. Sit with that. And if you want to, we can talk about what you think this means, because I'm curious to learn what you think this means, right?
Mhm.
And then I'll tell you what I think it means, because I know who the author is. So we can do this as Christians all the time, rather than say, hey, read the Gospel of John because it'll tell you who Jesus is. Well, nobody got time for that. I'm not going to read all 20
It's a
some
long book.
chapters of that.
Yeah.
It's a long book. And there's
Yeah.
a lot of weird stuff that happens. Eat my flesh, drink my blood. That's weird. Resurrection, that's weird. But just read one parable. Read the Beatitudes even. Right? Just give them some small piece of the living word of God. Give them a crumb from the master's table and just set them free with it, right? Just set them free with God's word, knowing you will not come back unchanged from this experience, because God would never, ever allow you to just walk away without any scars or wounds.
Mhm. And
Exposed.
I think that's. I mean, I think
Exposed.
that's always true.
Right. But
I
if you
mean-
say, hey, I believe in this wild God who's going to ride you like a horse into the kingdom, like, wait, what? No, I don't. That makes no sense.
Until you're actually ridden.
Right. And then you're like, oh, please never get off.
Yeah.
Because I saw the other rider and he is not attractive. Right. The devil is like a 400-pound jockey with Cheeto dust on his fingers. We don't want that guy in his back. No, don't do that.
What a
Right?
great
The comic
mental
book guy
image.
from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
But I think that's where we fail as Christians in our evangelism and apologetics is we expect them to believe as we believe and understand the jargon and rhetoric as we understand it, as though we do. That's what I mean is We lean so far away from mystery. We learn it, then because we do that, we lean away from encounter. You don't walk into a relationship and then say to the other person, okay, from now on, this is who you're going to be because this is what you mean to me. This is your purpose. That's the only people that are going to stay are people that want to be abused. That's the only people that are going to stick around for that kind of treatment. And also, how can you ever be in love with somebody when there's no deepening of the relationship? It's just here's your checklist every day. Make sure you complete all the forms so you can still be married to me. Ew. Gross.
Yeah. It's just, and it's flat.
It's so flat.
Yeah.
Because again, there's an expiration date on that versus the meaning of my marriage this morning, for example, when I woke up was multiple. And one of them was this woman is going to get to heaven through my ministrations. God is using me to minister to this woman so that she can enter into paradise with me. She's not going to be married to me. She's just going to be in paradise with Christ.
Yeah.
Well,
That's heavy though.
Well, that's a good thing to wake up to.
It is.
I may have gotten a little anxiety over it, but as usual. But no, and then there's just the multiplicity of, okay, what was my parents' marriage like? Well, what's my marriage like? Oh, all right, we're winning. This is good. This is good. We're good. We're doing it. But
Thank
also
Jesus for that. Yeah.
but then appreciation, right? And the deepening, like we've talked about in the past, the deepening of this in any relationship, not just in marriage, but any relationship, the deepening is suddenly there's beauty where there was no beauty. If I can weep at the beauty of a statue, you can certainly weep at the beauty of a human being that God has opened your heart to love or minister to. And it always comes sideways. It always comes from that stranger who just comes out of nowhere. And suddenly you say to yourself, how did I ever live this long without you in my life? It's like, well, there you go.
Yeah.
It's all gift.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you existed before a minute ago.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
It does kind of open up your answer.
And so and I bring this back around, then don't psychologize these things because it abstracts them and turns them into theory. And then that gets translated into practice, which is usually a checklist or a program or a trifold brochure, versus the mystery is encounter, 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 embodiment, hands, feet, mouths, right? Paul says that you are the hands and feet of Christ. Blessed are those hands and feet. Blessed is the mouth. When does that happen? I have no idea. If you had
Sometimes
told me,
after the fact, maybe.
I mean, if you had told me in 2019 that when I was 54, I'd basically be the same person as far as my curiosity that I was at 11, I'd be like, how is that even possible? And yet here I am. In my imagination, the 11-year-old is just running roughshod over me. It's fantastic. Because at the same time, I have all these adult responsibilities that I've been given to do. But I can do them now with curiosity and with wonder and say, oh, you're a dragon. You're a dragon. I see I see the pattern there.
Right.
You have the characteristics of a dragon. I got to be careful of you. Oh, you're a Medusa. You're trying to turn me to stone. You're trying to freeze my mind. Oh, well, I have the shield of faith. Stare at that for a while, right? Take yourself back. Tell the story in the third person. Find your place in the... And I think in this sense then, rather than saying like, well, what does this passage from Matthew mean to me? You're asking God, hey, could you just drop me in to the gospel and locate me where you need me to be rooted so that I know that, hey, if I'm going to be in a relationship with Christopher Gillespie today, it's because God wants me to be rooted in place. There, located there, versus, well, this is what I choose.
It's kind of an arbitrary schedule, but it is there.
It is there. Yes, yes. He knows how to wrangle us.
We appreciate it.
So, yeah, I think that's the danger of psychologizing these things. Is it puts you back in the driver's seat, and then now we're back into free will theology, we're back in enthusiasm and all of it.
Yeah, and that is the challenge with, just flattening, down to meaning alone, or to emotion, in response alone, or encounter. The language of encounter can be like the thing, and you're like, but the encounter, like with Jesus in particular, is by His word, which is received by the mind, and the Spirit dwells in your heart. I mean, it's the whole person is being engaged there.
Well, it's like I told you the story. I'll share it on the show too, since we have a little bit of time. Last Sunday, I have a girl in my congregation. She has Down syndrome. She's the best. And her mom came and pulled me aside before church, and she leans over and whispers, she goes, on Tuesday, I was talking with Emma, and she goes, shh, Mama, the trumpets. And she said, what? She goes, the trumpets are playing in heaven. Shh, listen. And she's freaked out. I lean in and I go, it's almost as if God is real. And I laughed and walked away. And then after church, she came up and she was crying. And she said, during the sermon, she said it again, that Mama, I can hear the trumpets playing, which is awesome for me, for my ego.
That's
it's a great
fantastic.
boost.
Yeah.
But as you and I have talked about in the past, there are times when we're facing the altar where we can hear children's choir singing, but there's no children singing that loud,
Saints
or
and
not enough
angels.
children, but it's
Yeah.
angels and saints. And you don't turn around and go, oh, thank God it's just the church. You don't turn around because you don't want to break the spell. That's the old magic Lewis talks about, is, oh my God, heaven's revealed itself to me. For just this moment, heaven's shown up and went, hey, just so you know, this is real. And yeah, you learn, like, there's no rational explanation. And also, you don't share it with people in the same way that you would share something else that happened. Like, oh, I was at the store.
Yeah,
And
then, but I mean, Paul talks about the man who got caught up with the vision of the, the third heaven, and it's like,
well,
I think
there's
it's
certain
autobiographical.
disclosures that aren't meant for everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? It's like, oh, we got upgraded to first class at the airport. Well, everybody, anybody who's flown, hey, that's cool.
Yeah.
You don't show up I received a vision 3 weeks ago, and they're like, what? That happened to me last week. I got off. So for those who don't know, about 2 minutes after we stopped recording last week, my phone rang at the house, but it showed up on my MacBook. And I said to Gillespie, I got to go. My dad's dead. And you're like, what? And I went home and my dad was dead. He had died at home. And I had a dream 3 weeks ago that my dad died. And when I woke up, I knew he was going to die. And then I kept having repeated dreams over the last 3 weeks that my dad died. And then he died. So it wasn't a shock to me. And everybody that called said, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I knew he was going to die. And they're like, how'd you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I had a dream. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, I can't. And then I just turn it to dealing with, the funeral and everything, because it's not given to them. So the disclosure of that it's not glorifying God, right? And so you have to be careful that you don't disclose things that actually serve as this is the offense Paul's warning against. There are some people that can talk to you about visions and dreams and miracles. And then there's others that can't. This is modesty. This is the point of modesty. There are certain things that God gives you that are only for you. And there are some things that are just for you and your family.
Right.
Some things just for your church. They don't get spoken of outside of church. There are a ton of things that I say in Bible class that I don't say outside of Bible class. Because those people that are in Bible class, that's our conversation. Now, I live stream it so you can tune in, but this is our conversation that's been happening for years.
There's going to be a degree of, I would say, incomprehensibility. I mean,
abstraction.
I don't understand where that
There
came
are
from.
things that I say that are alluding to experiences that I've had with people in that room. And you listening will think I'm just making kind of generalized examples.
But they know.
But the person in the room knows exactly what I'm referring to. And they just kind of give you that smile.
Well, they do the same thing. In my case, they'll ask questions that have context, but the context isn't
There's the
clear to
pattern.
everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are certain things that I always call it, because we had this conversation this week with my kids, you don't wash your dirty laundry in public. A lot of people want to go on social media and wash their dirty laundry in public.
This is, God guards against it with the 8th commandment.
My children are discovering my extended family now that my dad's dead. And so they've never had contact with certain folks. And I have to explain best construction, but families are families. And there's drama in every family, and there's this, that, and the other thing in every family. And you kind of got to sort it out. And the kids are like, why is this? I'm like, let me explain the history of our family. Let me explain where this originated. It just is what it is. Yeah. And I said, outside of this car, we don't talk about these things because this is our family. This isn't other people's family. And this is dirty laundry. This is our family's dirty laundry. We don't wash it in public. So we don't talk about it with friends even. We don't talk about it at church. It's gossip, right?
Let me tell you about my crazy aunt. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's like my crazy aunt is mine and I love her, but she's not somebody else's. And so maybe by talking about my crazy aunt, I now hurt her reputation. What happens if my crazy aunt comes for Christmas? And everyone's like, oh, is that your crazy aunt? And then she's like, what do you mean? Is that what you call me? And now all of a sudden you got a situation on Christmas Eve. And you're like, yeah, you are my crazy aunt. But now I got to explain what I meant by that, right? Versus, no, she's your crazy aunt. You love her, but she's yours. Right. So keep it in the house. Don't wash your dirty laundry in public. It's the same thing with these things. If God gives you something, and I tell people this too, when God talks to you, the last thing you're going to want to do is talk about it publicly. It's going to scare the crap out of you.
Well, you'll end up like a prophet.
Yeah, it's real. And even if it's a vision, It's a real vision. If angels appear to you, you'll know they're real angels and not your imagination, because you're not going to want to talk about them because they're real.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't talk with words that you
No.
like mouth words. They just communicate. And you're like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, or I mean, even more, or
Mhm.
maybe not more, but certainly on the other side, if you're afflicted by demons, it's
You know.
right.
And you're going to say things like, Pastor, can I talk to you? Okay, don't be freaked out about this. And I hope
Mm-hmm.
this isn't weird, but, and you're like, oh no, I understand completely. Like, really? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And
Because
they're so relieved,
it's
right?
happened to me. I mean,
Because they're so afraid that you're going to be like, oh God, don't say that to anybody. What are you,
mhm,
insane?
yeah.
No, because that's what they think, because that's the way the world has taught them to think about these things.
Well, and maybe that's why for us, I mean, we have to speak of the angels and demons in our own
100%.
encounters with them. Otherwise,
Yeah.
people don't. They need that permission to
100%.
say, okay, this is a conversation he's willing to have with me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I had that dream actually this morning. I woke up and I said, because I might have to go out to my dad's house and clean some stuff out. And the first thing I have to do is walk into the house and perform an exorcism
Yeah, of course.
because of who he was and what he did. Which means I have to be the first person, and I can't let anybody come in with me, especially my family, until I exorcise the house in the name of Christ. And then that being done, yeah, we can go in and do what we got to do. But you have to understand this is real. And I'm not going to just lead you into a lion's cage and be like, he's just a big kitty cat. Really?
Mm-hmm.
No, don't do that. If you know a lion's a lion, make sure he's well fed and put away before you walk into his cage to clean it. And that's just the way of it. That's the spiritual reality of these things. And you don't take these things lightly because they're not metaphors. They're not allegories. They're real.
And you
Those
can't
are-
reduce it to just scientific explanation.
You can try until you meet one.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then suddenly it's real. And now you've been encountered and you're no going back after that.
And it's not explainable. It's only confessable.
I would say encountering a demon or an evil spirit, for those who have reference, it's like getting a divorce. You can say that you were never married, but your heart's been changed by the marriage and by the divorce. You've been affected.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, no, it's the same thing when you encounter Christ or angels or whoever. When you encounter, like we talked about, when you encounter a pastor who's obviously possessed by the Holy Spirit, you're just like, could you just hold me? I don't need words. Just hold me and I'll know everything's going to be okay. I've met 2 or 3 of those guys in my whole life.
Yeah.
And you realize when you meet them, immediately you're like, please don't leave.
Yeah. But that's
Like,
the angel's unaware, but you're still aware of it in a way.
Well, yeah, again, there's just, like I said, if we take the early understanding of the soul as being like this snow globe, it's around you and inside of you at the same time. As soon as an angel touches your soul, as soon as the Holy Spirit touches your soul, well, that person entered into that space,
Yeah.
that liminal space, that threshold
You
space.
might call it intuition, but it's deeper
It's
than
way
that.
deeper than that.
Yeah.
Because it's the immediate recognition that you're in the presence of something other than the otherness of it, like I talked about with Daniel Deerdorf's books.
And it's more than charisma then too.
God, no. Like the guys that I've met, they were not charismatic guys. They
I mean,
weren't charismatic.
Well, it's charisma in the best sense, right?
Yes, not in the
Full of-
popular
full
sense
of
of
grace.
like,
Yeah.
you won me over by your personality. These are not guys who are personable in that sense. These are guys that are quiet actually and very gentle. And for somebody like me who's just a raging bull, they're not the type of person that I would even stop for. And I'm just like stop dead, like like an electric fence. Where you're like, I don't know what's happening
I
right
think
now.
that's what the man without guile, is.
It must
is
be
like.
because in all 3 instances, I didn't know them except by name. Then when we encountered each other, it was immediate.
Mhm.
Like, could you hug me? Like, I don't know why, but I just want you to hug me. Like, just hold my hand. Like, I've had that, like, one of them just sat and listened to me talk for 2 hours. And at the end, blessed me with his words. And I'm like, I don't know what just happened. Like, I just talked for 2 hours. You didn't even bother talking about yourself. I know nothing about you. And yet you just said that's the best conversation you've ever had. How's that possible? Well, that's a blessing. You
Yeah.
filled me.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah.
it's not measurable or
no.
calculated or
No.
something.
This
Yeah.
is the my cup runneth over kind of stuff.
Right.
And yeah, you walk away and it's like we talk about when you hear the gospel and you know it's the gospel, and then you walk away and you're like, oh my God, I just heard the gospel, and then you don't hear it, you will be so agitated and upset and desperate to hear the gospel again because you're like, wait, that was a steak dinner. Where's my steak dinner?
But by here, you don't. It's the
Not
deeper
just
meaning of
not just
hearing.
audibly
Yeah,
hearing,
yeah.
but you hear.
right. And
Yeah.
for me, that's rare. It's not. And I don't think
Yeah.
it's because the word isn't necessarily spoken. It's
No,
just,
no. I have a 95, 96-year-old widow, And I think twice since I've known her, I think I've known her for like 6 years now. Twice she's come to the altar crying, twice. And she kneels and she's just weeping, right? In her quiet, widowy way. And afterwards she said, God touched me. I'm like, oh no, that was obvious because you're not given to that. And so when she shattered, I'm like, oh, the word had its way with her today. Like whatever she needed to hear today got all the way into the soul. It like went right to the marrow of the thing. And I don't ask what was it, because that would
Well,
be
she
so
probably can't even
gross.
say anyway.
Well, it's just so gross. Like, tell me, what was it that I said? No, 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 ew, gross. No, because whatever I said wasn't the reason. It was the Holy Spirit. But again, that then places you within this cathedral that is the width and depth and height of the entire cosmos. Like the whole logos is the only thing that can even possibly contain that. And so for that moment, this 70 by 20 little church literally encapsulated everything of reality for her. And yet God just gave her, again, the peek behind the curtain, just a little peek, just a crumb. And that crumb reduced her to just this, mass of tears. And yet the consequence of that is her and I go at each other in Bible class. It's the best. I love her so much. And she loves me. And we say it all the time. It's like, I love you so much. That's why I'm so mean to you. She's like, oh, I'm the same. I'm like, yeah. She goes, I'm just an independent, opinionated old woman. I'm like, yep, that's why I love you. She's like, yep. And so those are the gifts. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, yes, they're not sacramental, but they kind of are. Because they are blessings. They do fill you. They feed your soul. They're no substitute for the bread and the wine, but they're a direct consequence of the bread and wine.
Right.
Again, that tipping of the head and making you into a chalice and then pouring yourself out for the other, for sure. And so what if you turn the tables and consider a universe created by God, full of his presence and not empty space? Well, then you get something like Lewis's science fiction trilogy. I got to read that again. It's so good. He went back to the medieval model for inspiration for the Perelandra trilogy. But perhaps a modern interpreter will find a way to do this for a quantum world, ? And so here's the reflection at the end. The psalmist is full of joy at the universe, cosmos, finding it cause to celebrate that God still cares for us despite this immensity. Where is God in your model of the universe? Can the psalmist help put him back where he belongs? Which you and I would argue is the cross at the center of the universe, the tree at the center of the universe.
The tree, the cross, the stone.
The stone, exactly, all of it. It's all the same thing because it's all bearing the blood of Christ.
I don't know how you would do this in the quantum world.
That's a good question.
I mean, one aspect of quantum that, you mentioned Schrodinger, she mentioned Schrodinger earlier, is that it doesn't have linear time, which is compelling.
Everything's Kairos.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
Or that it is and it isn't.
Interstellar.
Right.
We're all in the giant library.
Yeah.
No, I think it's...
Don't mention Interstellar. It throws me off.
Well, on her side, it's just a bookshelf.
Right.
It's time-bound. On his side, it's an infinite bookshelf, timeless.
Right.
And he has to figure out a way to get from timeless... And by the way, what is it? It's his love for his daughter that ultimately allows him to move the book so that she recognizes what's happening. And yet, within that, he still has to watch her die. And then he has to die. So as inspiring as that one moment is, and it makes you cry because... Is it Hans Zimmer that does the music for that?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So you're crying because the music's making you cry, and he's crying.
It's just father and daughter. That's
it's
why
father-daughter stuff. So yeah. It pulls all the strings, speaking of quantum theory.
Right.
And if it had just ended there, that's a very interesting parable or metaphor. But it ends with her dying, and then him dying, spoilers. So in the end, somehow it's the yes and not yet, or the yes and no of eternity versus... Ultimately, that library has to end with Christ being like, no, all books are about me. All books point to me. All libraries point to me. You were in me this whole time, and you wanted to bring her to me.
And that story's good in that regard, that it doesn't really explain the construction of the other the eternal library. It doesn't. Yeah. Like, where did this come from? Like, it's not even. It's just. It is.
If you wondered if Nolan is a Kubrick fan, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely time and eternity is a big thing for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how to tell those stories
Mm-hmm.
because it's a we haven't even sat
Well,
in it
that's
that
the point,
long.
buddy. You can't. They have to come to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point. They have to come to you. The gospel
Yeah,
has
and
to come to you.
and it's not always successful, right? So sometimes it's gonna be
Right.
Tenet, and it's not as successful,
Right.
although it deals with the same
I
themes in
liked
other
Tenet.
ways. I did. I did.
I
Well,
thought it was a nice companion piece to Inception.
and I appreciated the artistry of it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, those backwards.
I just didn't
fighting
overthink it. It's just a heist caper. That's all
Yeah,
it is.
right. I know.
Like Inception's a heist caper. That's all
Yeah,
they
with
are.
time travel.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's not that complicated. He just does his Nolan thing to make it sound complicated, but it's like, are we going to rob this guy or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but in the end, is it confessing some greater truth? I'm
No.
not sure.
I think she nailed it with that one sentence though. It's like, no, all you're admitting is your weakness.
Mm-hmm.
The weakness of your intellect at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, but with the artistry of a film, you are trying to expand past the scientific limitation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's more.
Well, I think
it's
Kubrick
more
does
than
that
just
in 2001.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's more than just a black hole, or it's more than just
Yeah.
this reversal of time. There's
I mean,
some.
ultimately, and correct me what you think, but ultimately, I don't think 2001 ever explains itself. It's just there. Like Tartikoff, the Russian director,
Mm-hmm.
as he said, my films are art. I have no idea what they mean. That's for the viewer. That's not up to me.
Right, but I think novelists are that way too often.
Tarkovsky, not Tartikoff. Tarkovsky. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, imagine if you told Steinbeck how they use his books now in school,
Yeah.
and like
That's not what I meant. Yeah.
well, even then, it's like I don't even know.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because my son and I just had that conversation yesterday.
Hmm.
That the worst thing you could do is require students in high school to read Steinbeck.
We did.
You're not ready. I did too. I hated
Mice
it.
and Men, and
I hated it. And then I read it
East
when I
of
was
Eden.
24, and it's my second favorite novel of all time now. But I had to be 24 to read that.
Yeah, but I think that because it has that mysterious depth to it.
Oh, 100%. Well, and also, just on the surface level, Rose of Sharon breastfeeding your grandpa, you're like,
Yeah.
in 10th grade, I wasn't ready to comprehend. I'm like,
no
wait,
idea.
what?
Yeah.
Versus
right.
when you're 24 and you're a little bit further along, you're like, she's giving herself away. She's sacrificing herself. But then I became a Christian, and then you read it again. Oh, this is okay.
Yeah, and obviously the Christian illusion.
Yeah, Rose of Sharon. Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah.
strong.
And she's holding him.
He's
in a
obviously
rocking chair.
biblically literate. There's
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Again, go read To a God Unknown.
Yeah.
But no, like I said, I've been reading the Brothers Karamazov since I was 27 years old, and I've not finished it yet.
My bookmark is just a few pages in. I'm looking at it on the shelf there.
Because again, Hans Spalteholz told me, he goes, you don't read the Brothers Karamazov, you don't read Dostoevsky, you experience Dostoevsky. I'm like, okay, 27-year-old me. And then I started reading the brothers, and I got.
It sounds very romantic.
It's not. You read it. I always get to Michael, basically, after the things happen with him and his drunkenness, and Alyosha and Ivan. And kind of how I always get to Alyosha and then Ivan telling off Alyosha, right, for kind of being a naive. And I just never make it past that because I'm just stuck there in a loop.
Right, but that's the story that you need to hear.
Well, and I keep going back to A Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich. I've read that multiple times, that kind of short novel. I've never been able to get past the first chapter of The Idiot. And again, it's not because I love those stories. That's the point. Like, I've read summaries of the stories and watched YouTube breakdowns of the novels because I know I don't think I'm ever going to get to the end of these things. Because, like, when you read The Grand Inquisitor, for
Do you think
example,
if somebody read it to you, though, you would get through it?
yes, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, when I get to The Grand Inquisitor, like, that's it. Like,
The problem with reading it to yourself
well, right,
is
yeah,
that you get caught up in momentary reflection.
100%, and then you're just gone. Yeah. And I think him battling, again, this is autobiographical, but Dostoevsky battling his addictions and demons and his doubt and his conversion. Now I'm thinking on a meta level as a convert, as an addict, as battling, and you're like, now you're just down that rabbit hole. And yeah, you just get stuck in the mystery of it.
Of
And
the
I think,
self-reflection.
yeah, and I think that's great. That's fantastic if you can find that kind of literature. But like I said, there's also something to be said for the runaway bunny and just reading the runaway bunny and be like, oh, this is a metaphor for Jesus or God chasing down sinners.
Right. Yeah. And I'm not opposed to Audible. I mean, it's mentioned there, listening to the audiobook.
Yeah.
Because I grew up hearing stories.
Yeah.
As much as reading them.
Well, I think now for me, I just know because I'm reading so many things every day and I'm writing so much every day and dictating into my phone so much every day. The audiobooks that I listen to back and forth to the gym, that's 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back.
Mhm.
So it's a good span of time. And then I just let it play and I fade in and out as I'm driving, right? You fade in and out of what's being
Right,
read.
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, with
It's like I said,
storytelling, when it's
yeah.
told to you,
Yeah.
you can get lost for a moment,
Yeah.
and then you get grounded back in again.
Like I'm on my second read through of the Liturgies of the Wild, but I'm on my fifth listen to Parsifal and the Grail by Shaw, just reading it out of his Snowy Tower book. And yep, sure enough, every time I listen, something else. I'm like, oh, okay.
Because that happened. You probably did get lost.
100%.
And your eyes were scanning the page, but you weren't reading.
Well, I'm like, oh, I'm stuck on Trevisan the Hermit now. But then I listened to it on Tuesday. I'm like, oh, that's right. Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
And now we're here with this. And you're like, yeah, I need to be here for some reason. What is it?
Yeah. And I don't know what model you would have to do for the quantum world.
Well, I think that's the answer, though. The answer for the quantum world is you just preach it and you don't try to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a multiplicity of meanings according to the Holy Spirit. I think we already have the answer to that.
Yeah, I don't even know if there's a scientific
It's
explanation.
not the Marvel universe. It's not,
No,
quantum universe. No, it's literally tell the story that has a multiplicity of meanings and will never have less
Time
than
and eternity. And,
exactly.
Nope.
There's a reason Gilgamesh is still around. And it's not because some archaeologists finally found the manuscript. Like Beowulf has one extant manuscript. There's two, really, but there's really one that's extant. Well, Beowulf would still be told, even if it wasn't for that manuscript.
Mm-hmm.
Because true myths, which are anonymous, well, then how do they keep getting repeated if they're anonymous? Because the stories themselves come and live with people and go, well, yeah, we're living here now.
Right.
And you tell it and you tell it and you tell it. I was listening to a Russian folktale the other day. And then yesterday I was told it was an Irish folktale. And it wasn't the same story, but it had the exact same plot.
Yeah, it hit all the same beats.
Oh, literally, it had a soldier and it had death.
Mm-hmm.
Like it had a giant with no heart, and the guy had to go find the giant's heart so he could win the maiden. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a Russian story. And they're like, no, this is Irish. And then I got a book on PDF that's Scandinavian. It's in the book. So somehow that story traveled either from Ireland through Scandinavia to Russia or vice versa. And I'm sure amongst the Pueblos and the Africans, it's there too.
So the Psalm 8, it asks precisely the kind of question that we would want to ask.
Right.
Like, why are you mindful of us? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Right? Why did you put all these things in the heavens? This is a good question.
Yeah.
You know, when I look at
Why
them.
is it that even non-Christians know the 23rd Psalm?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because it's culturally popular.
I mean, it's true, it is, but yeah.
Not anymore, though. Not like it used to be.
Maybe not.
Boomers in our generation.
Well, it's definitely World War I, too.
Remember when we were growing up, again, I'm an atheist growing up, but even when you go into other people's houses, it would be on the wall above the kitchen table or somewhere, right? It was kind of ubiquitous. Not anymore. Not anymore. But yet, if you bring up My Cup Runneth Over or The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, it still shows up here and there.
I think it is that shadow of death, though. I think that's the line that resonated.
Yeah, though I
like,
walk through the valley. Yeah.
Like, we are in a valley.
That shows up in a lot of movies and shows and music.
Yeah, and so then now, we're kind of just in, well, it's literally gray outside. So, but we're in the gray zone, where it's just, it's neither darkness nor light.
Yeah.
It's just kind of passive apathy everywhere.
The Dempsey time, as it's called. The Dempsey time between light and dark. The time between dog and wolf.
Ooh.
Dogs come out in the day, wolves come out at night. And dusk is the time in between.
But it is the year of the fire horse. So.
But think about that. Dusk is the threshold time, right? That's when weird things happen. Well, what if it's dusk all day, like right now? Well, that's a weird time then. And people get weird.
Yeah.
Because there's
it's also the time of the crucifixion. So.
It is, for sure. Yeah, there's that too, right? A turning toward Friday.
Yeah.
That's all happening. And if you're aware of it, as the question begs, as the psalmist begs the question, like, hey man, Hamlet says, what is this quintessence of dust, right? It's like, no. Like, we're not just dust floating through the universe unnoticed. He counts every hair on your head. He made you. He gave you a tongue knowing you were going to violate the second commandment anyways. Is that not grace? He gives you beauty in the midst of just absolute degenerate ugliness and goes, here's a seed. You're like, oh, thank God. It's not all bad. But as Tolkien proves time and again in his writings, the darkness always seems like it's going to win because it's
Before the dawn.
stronger. There's more. It's so heavy. It's brutal. It's nihilistic. It's nihilistic. And yet the light always penetrates the darkness, right? It's like Critical Drinker was talking about his favorite scene in Lord of the Rings is when they ride down the hill. Minas Tirith is being besieged. And otherwise, for me, it's the ride of the Rohirrim, obviously. And my testosterone goes up like 500 points whenever I watch that scene.
Yeah, right.
But for him, it's like Gandalf appears with all these riders that were scattered, lost. The light of his staff illuminates the battlefield, and the army of Sauron just peels. And they just, like a lawnmower through them. And there's something about the inside, right? They've all been driven back into the inner sanctum of Minas Tirith. And then they ride out as the last ride, like, we're going to die. Theoden's going to die. Aragorn, we're all going to die. And yet, while that's happening on the inside, on the outside, here comes Gandalf. Because again, the wizard always shows up exactly when he needs to.
Right.
And that the kind of juxtaposition of those two people. And it's like, yeah, that's the point, is like when you're in the valley, that's when the light is brightest. Like when Jesus is in the desert, where are the angels? Right there. They're in the wilderness with him. They're right there to say to the devil, go away. Go away now. We don't need to turn rocks into bread. Heaven has descended. If I need bread, manna will appear. I don't need you. And so, yeah, that manna, when it appears, it's still manna from heaven, but how it feeds you will be different for each person.
Right.
Right? Nobody needs to be healed of addiction who isn't an addict. It's just that simple. And if you're not holding a dead body, why do you need to hear about the resurrection at this very moment? And some people can go a long time without needing to hear about the resurrection of the dead. But then,
Yeah, I mean, they might hear it, but yeah,
but
it doesn't.
When death visits you,
Right.
and decides to sit at the dinner table with you because your husband's dead now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I need a real people. I need a real savior. Yeah.
I know people who still set the table for their spouse, even though they're dead.
I don't know.
I'm like, I get it, but that's hard. That is so hard because you're left with your imagination and your memory versus, who's sitting in that chair, death. So we gotta tell death to go away. We gotta do something about that. Because it's not sustainable. It's not timeless.
Right. And there's and you need the confession of the
100%.
resurrection then.
Anyone who's married knows at some point they're going to be in bed alone for whatever reason. Your spouse is on a trip, they're in the hospital, they die. Of course, we all know that. When we get married, we know that. When we're dating, we know at some point. But as you get older and that becomes more and more real and less theoretical, yeah, it can make you more appreciative and grateful for sure. But at the same time, if you dwell there, it's also going to make you very, very scared and anxious. And all of a sudden, you're going to smother your spouse, smother your children.
It's kind of a,
it's fear.
It's a very primitive fear though.
For sure.
That fear of being alone.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially when you've not been for a while.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, like you talked about earlier and we addressed is there are things that you are led to and you shouldn't pray for them even because they're you don't understand what you're asking. To quote Jesus, you don't understand what you're asking.
Or you just ask anyway. I mean, because you see this with lament. It's like it
Lord,
doesn't seem
make
like
me into a Job. Don't do that.
But lament doesn't seem like an appropriate prayer, and it doesn't seem like the kind of complaint you should offer to God.
Right.
And yet, at the same time, the saints of old do, and God does not strike them down, saying, "Well, you horrible people who don't believe me or trust me."
Right.
But I'm thinking of Moses here again. I mean, Moses has to say to God, "But you promised."
Right.
And that's the confession that has to be drawn out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and the flip side, pastorally, I've been reflecting on this past week or so is my family is deeply affected by my dad's death, my biological father, and I'm not. I'm annoyed because death annoys me at this point. I'm annoyed by death.
It's an inconvenience.
It is. He is unimpressive to me at this point because my dad dying in his house and being discovered dead in his house versus when I had to bury Ken Mueller because he dropped dead walking from his house to the goat barn to feed the goats. And he had just been to the doctor that day and been given a clean bill of health.
Huh.
And they were going to go file their taxes. And he just died. He was dead before he hit the ground. His heart just burst for no reason. And then I was the first person there, and I had to sit with his body for 4 or 3 hours before the the EMTs got there. And the brand new member of my church, who was my brand new elder, this was the first thing I called him for. So he could go with me, because it was chaos in that house. Like, it was the most chaotic I've ever seen at the death of anybody. And everyone in the house, there's like 20 people in the house, and they all turn to me. And I had been here like 3-4 years at the most, like 4 years, I think, 4 or 5 years. So I'm still relatively new. And there he is, just face down in the backyard on the lawn. And everyone's like, what do we do? Do we pick him up? Do we cover him? Do we roll him? What do we do? We should bring him in the house. I'm like, no. Nobody touch him, because until the coroner gets here, the medical examiner, and declares him dead, don't move the body. So then I got to sit there with this dead body on the ground, who I had just talked to. And his kids are there, his wife's there, she'd call, the whole family's been brought in. My elder's standing there like, what the hell? So he just started hugging people. And that was my welcome to ministry moment when it comes to death. Everything after that, I was like, whatever. Because I had funerals before that were bad, but nothing as like shocking and just chaotic as that experience. And after that, I just got angrier and angrier at death every time he showed up.
Right.
And then for my dad to die the way he wanted to, alone, with no one around him, he wanted that.
In his
He
home.
said it.
Yep.
Well, yeah, he said, the only way you're getting me out of this house is feet first. Well, here we go. I'm just annoyed by death. And so people are like, oh, aren't you shocked? Are you upset? Are you hurt? I'm like, no, I'm annoyed that death is infringing upon my life. And you should
It does. It does.
Exactly. And so when he comes along and infringes and tries to, not be invited in, but literally impose himself on me, I'm like, no. You have no place here. You have no place here. Again, F off.
Yeah.
Like, if you take my children,
Nice
I
sense
don't
of
care.
control that you have there. Yeah.
Yeah. A mighty fortress is our God, buddy. Like, you're not, no. You can take my wife, my spouse, or my wife, my children, my goods, everything. I'm going to see them again for lunch. So go away. I don't have any use for you. Right? And again, I get it if you're not exposed. Like, this is why I like funeral directors, because I can have real conversations with them. And they like me for that
because they're
reason.
just
Well, they're so seasoned to it, right?
yeah.
Like the guy I just talked to, he's like, I got 3 funerals today, so I can't talk to you right now. I'm like, that's cool. Call me when you have a free chance. And so even when I talk to funeral directors, they love me because I'm just very practical and matter of fact about it. I'm not poetic or romanticizing it. It's just, this is what it is.
There's no point. Yeah.
Because I have Christ. I have the resurrection in my mouth, in my veins, in my soul. It's no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. Death is an inconvenience at best. He's a comma, not a period. And it just pisses me off when he shows up then, for any reason. And so, yeah.
Even dust on a forehead. Oh, I brought it up.
There it is. Even dust on the forehead. Again, you want to start a fight, put dust on someone's forehead in my presence. I'll spit on my hand and rub it. Yeah. No, I will be running for the communion wine.
There you go.
I get it, but I don't like it, and I don't agree with it, because death has no
But I
place
think
in our
this is
church.
why. I think you finally got to it.
Yeah.
It's because it's annoying.
Yeah. It's an annoyance.
Yeah.
So it's like a hangnail or a loose thread. Just cut it off and throw it away. Death, where is thy, death, where is thy sting?
Yeah. It's giving a lot more credit than
It's also Lent, so read John Donne's Holy Sonnets. Oh,
Ooh,
death.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Holy Sonnet number
death.
7.
I can hear the song.
Yep. Holy Sonnet number 7, or, oh, death. But anyways, I got nothing else now. We went for the cosmic to death, so.
Yeah, we dragged it out. It's good. It's nice
Dragged it out.
meditation. My book's coming tomorrow.
Good, because we'll be returning
No, I mean
to
it wasn't
throughout
a long meditation, but it was plenty for us.
Hmm?
As is the case
a
usually.
clause is plenty for us.
A clause.
Verbosity is nothing lacking in us. So.
All right.
So thanks, everybody. You're the best, and we wouldn't even be doing this show if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much for listening and supporting us and sharing this and giving us feedback. We love it. Thank you to 1517 once again. Go check out all the dates for conferences that are coming up. Check out classes, check out books and merch, check out articles and videos and everything that comes out of 1517. It's all for you, for the sake of forgiveness, life, and eternal salvation. So enjoy the hope that is given so freely to you through 1517.org. Otherwise, God willing, and the creek don't rise, we'll be back again next week for a brand new episode. God give you 10,000 blessings today. Peace. Too many things.
Forgot to turn on the repeat.
Too many.
You almost made it.
What's that?
Get the timing just right.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's all good. I fix it in post. All right.
Which timing?
Oh, of the music.
Oh, right. Yeah, just turn me up to 1.5 speed and turn yourself down.
Indeed.
0.95.
Indeed.
There we go. That'd be funny. Yep. Otherwise, it's Friday, so I'm gonna eat and.
Yeah, I got a visit to
chillax.
make, so.
Oh, do you on
Yeah.
Friday? Oof.
I know, I don't usually, but
Yep.
I was going to do it the other day, but it was the birthday, and there was too many people there. So
Fair enough.
I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go on your birthday. I'm sorry.
No.
It's the likelihood that I could do anything.
Weird.
It's just like, because people are going to keep coming in and out. It's just like, no. I'll
I'm
come on.
trying to commune her. Shut up.
I know. And people have no respect for that, so.
Not in the hospital. Not at a birthday party. Nowhere.
Nope.
Not even in
Nope.
church some days.
No.